We've got one shot.
This is absolutely spectacular.
We've only got one shot. We've got one shot, one shot. Do you feel alive? We've got
What a
one
race
shot,
we
one
are watching here.
We've got one shot, one shot. Do you feel alive? Get in.
Threading the eye of the needle with surgical-like precision.
Back down to feel alive. Waiting for the chance to show the world who we are. We've only got one shot. We've only got one shot.
It's an outstanding overtake.
Oh, we gotta do it right to feel alive. Waiting for the chance to show the world who we are. We've only got one shot.
Welcome to Creator Series Season 13.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Creator Series. It's Season 13, Round 2, and we are here at Barcelona. And it's going to be a cracking night, I think. It's going to be the first test for our drivers on the new game with the new battery modes to see what they can do. We had Monaco, of course, last week, but we found out was not much recharging going on there. So they're going to have a big challenge tonight. GB is back. Oh my God, it's here. The time has happened. Adam Sanderson is back, and we're going to see what happens with him there. I have heard he's not too happy with how the game works. Everyone, welcome in. I hope you're having a banging week. Hope you enjoyed the qualifying session as well in real life F1. But do you know what? It's time to go for Creator Series Round 2, baby. And it's not just me that you'll be looking at tonight. We have a couple of other familiar faces that will be in with us. We can bring them up on screen for me, please. That would be amazing. We have Jake Sparry and Tom Wilkinson. My guys, welcome, welcome. Jake, how are you? So nice to see you again.
Well, very nice to see you as well. And I tell you what, I'm very excited for what this round will bring, because round one at Monaco, it's almost like it's something that you're not going to get. It's the exception to the rule. Now you start to wonder, how are you going to play within the rule book when everyone's going to try and make things difficult? It's part of what I would call your El Clasico doubleheader here in Creator Series, because after here at Barcelona, we head on over to Madrid. And I tell you what, first time to see the Mad Ring, that's going to be awesome. But they're going to have to go through F1's version of the dyno test.
Love it. Couldn't have said it better myself. Mr. Wilkinson, welcome back. How are you tonight?
I'm good. Like Jake, I'm looking forward to this. It feels weird to say, considering how exciting Monaco was last week, but that almost felt like a bit of a warm-up to what we're going to see. This will be the first time, like you mentioned, that we get to properly see the battery management, the potential flip-flop racing that we've become accustomed to in real life. And this is going to be the first true test to see who is up to speed with how to manage the battery, what different deployment strategies people are going to be going with, not just in the race, but qualifying as well, because that's going to be a big part that we need to focus on too.
Yeah, 100%. Will all of the drivers have came to the same conclusions when it comes to the battery? Like, will be people using it at certain moments? Has anyone found something sneaky that might just kind of save that extra 5-10%? You could say it all comes down to setups. Setups might be the major difference between who's really good and who's not really good in this race. And you know what? Talking of setups, before we get to the action, we are delighted to announce a new partnership for the Creator Series. Joining us as an official setups partner is GoSetups.gg. Yes, baby. One of the leading setup providers in sim racing. And it's not just F1. If you're on iRacing, Le Mans Ultimate, or a range of other racing titles, GoSetups.gg offers professionally developed setups designed to help drivers get the most out of their cars and maximize performance on track. We are excited to be working together at the Creator Series to bring even more value to our community and competitors throughout the season. If you would like to try these banging setups, go to GoSetups.gg. We have an exclusive offer for Creator Series viewers. Simply use the code CS10 at checkout to receive 10% off your order. That's CS10 for 10% off at gosetups.gg. A huge thank you to Go Setups for their support of the Creator Series, and we look forward to what we can achieve together. All right, we have plugged the banging setups. It's done. Let's look at the calendar. You briefly mentioned Barcelona and Madrid. Let's just go through quickly the races that we will have for the rest of the season. Obviously, we have Madrid next week. We have Austria after that. We head to Silverstone, Belgium, Hungary, Singapore for round 8, the fan vote GP, so whoever Ben Daly tells his kind of audience to vote for, that's where we'll be going for that round. Netherlands for round 10, Las Vegas, baby, round 11, Monza, Bahrain, and Azerbaijan, which is a double point finale, so there will be double points on offer. Cannot wait for that. It's going to be banging. All right, we are quite efficient today. This is last weekend it was a 3.5-hour show. This weekend we're going to get it back down to normal. I'm being told qualifying is pretty much ready. Jake and Tom, let's take it away, yeah?
Yeah, thank you, Scott. And so now you set yourself down in with the 18 minutes that are available here in this qualifying session to say, let's put it up on the top step and go with the best possible position. A lot to try and uncork, and a couple of things to note here. We're normally used to intermediates qualifying here, but that's out the window this season, because if you use the intermediate tyres at any point, that's it. You're done. You're gone. You're banned. So it's the wet pole qualifying that is out there on these dry conditions. You have got 6 minutes to get out, get a lap that is quickest on a nice chunky blue tyre.
The wet pole challenge, as it has been coined in the first race, will continue to be coined, I'm sure, for the rest of its involvement. Couple of rule changes as well that we'll get into as this evening's action unfolds. Some drivers out there, as we saw in Monaco, will be on the soft compound tyres. The closing speed's there, and we saw a couple of drivers getting impeded by that. I'm imagining we'll see that come to the forefront a little bit more tonight as well. So you don't want to find yourself on the soft tyres in the early stages, because you're either going to ruin your own lap, which isn't going to be good for your own doing, because you're wasting a set of soft compound tyres, which will be useful because one of the other rule changes, you have to use all 3 dry compounds in the race, unless, of course, we have wet weather conditions.
Yep, so it means that all the tyres, the softs, the mediums, and the hards are available. I want to petition to you, T-Dub, that we call it the Fisherman's Challenge out there, because, of course, you've got to reel in that wet pole position.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I'm trying to see, maybe those drivers on the soft tyres, they'll be the bait. They'll be baiting them out there, trying to hold them up. They've effectively holding the cards, if you will, by trying to block in some of those drivers on the wet compound tyre. But Safso, as he usually finds himself when he goes for these challenge points at the start of qualifying, the first out there to try and set the benchmark time.
Battered the curb there at the opening corner and working through the long turn 3, catches a wiggle through the middle and over to turn 4, which is colloquially known as Repsol Corner here. Trying to work hard through this section, try and get back up over the crown of the road and into turn 5 here that sets itself down at XIII Corner. You've got to try and work off of the exit and say, right, how do I get through this small flick left of turn 6 into 7 and 8? There's that massive anti-cut curb on the outside that chucks you out every stage of the way. Over the top of Campsa, turn 9, the most committed corner out there on this circuit. And this is one of the chances where you can really use that energy harvesting system to really pull yourself into play through the long turn 10. Then over at La Caixa Bank, Sabadell follows on immediately here at 12. And then you've got those final 2 corners of Europe Car and New Holland, 13 and 14 to end the lap, where you've just got to commit it and hope that the car responds. And look how pointy Safso's got that Ferrari going at the moment. 119 it is, but look at the toe that Karen was able to pick up there. That Audi is singing, and it's singing to the tune of 8/10 quicker.
Comfortably quicker than anybody else out there at the moment. Couple of drivers on the soft tyres will ruin the shape of the leaderboard as Razin gets out of shape there going through turn number 9. Needs to try and find some form. Kareem made it 4 first-round retirements in the last 4 seasons for himself with an early crash at Monaco. There's Fimex getting massively out of shape as well. Rear tyre screaming for a little bit of mercy as Carter currently holds the fastest time of the session on a 14.5. Reigning champion Lola Noble got close to Kareem 70, and Fimex, despite the big wobble through the final sector, a 10th quicker than the Williams.
And you'll also note here those 2 zones in purple on the mini-map as well, with just under 2 minutes left here in this for the wet pole that is out there, or the Fisherman's Challenge out there. you are looking around at it, T-Dub, and it's important to note that active aerodynamics that is there and available, what we call straight mode.
Yeah, we missed it in Monaco, of course, last week. So this is the first time we get to see the new aerodynamic systems in the Creator Series. We'll see what kind of impact they have. Haven't yet got the Macarena wings involved for the Ferrari and the Red Bull cars. Hopefully we see them in the future. Some we're seeing in the present. Returning, though, is GB68 back on your screens in the Creator Series. We absolutely love to see it. As he's another driver going for that wet pole point, currently held by Razin Chai by just under a couple of tenths of a second. Tim McMurdoch with a pretty terrible attempt at it, 9/10 of a second down. Your championship leader, of course, Mr. Benjamin Daly.
Yeah, took the win at Monaco, 25 points ahead of his old enemy in Alex Gillen. And those two, I was sure, will have themselves a tale as old as time or a My Way highlights package a la Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, I am sure, at some point in their career. Scotty Designs, go make it. But for the moment, it is a case of GB looking in the dying embers to find a good time. You can see how much he's going to have to work there with that direct drive, or with that steering wheel, trying to get it all sorted, to kind of fight with the force feedback going through the final couple of corners, and then really trying to get it to straighten up. It's a nice arcing turn over the line, and that Aston Martin goes third fastest then of the wet runners and says, look, that was a really good attempt, but it is only just going to be that, a good attempt.
And it should be Razin Chai's championship point to take. Tom 97 down in 17th. That's Nick Flies on the wets, losing it over the curb through turn 9, spitting him into the barrier on the right-hand side. Front wing gone, wet tyre run gone as well. And that is not a good reintroduction for the Creator Series for one of our reservists that we've got taking the place of Tukey this week.
So, with those all looking to try and sit back and say, right, I'm going to jump in and do everything that is necessary, sometimes you look around and say, look, there are reserves that jump in and want to try and push themselves up to a higher level. Guys like Chialda is going to be one of them who is jumping in as a reserve in the Williams, are currently up in second place. So that's going to be worth its focus at the moment, as this is going to be Mango Slayer going over towards the point. Third fastest there on a 1:14.8, and it's going to be only 3 tenths of a second, I should say, behind as far as it stands in the brand new Cadillac. Tell you what, it's really nice to see Audi and Cadillac here in the F1 26 game. It adds that universal appeal to this championship.
And of course, we get to open up the number of drivers from 20 to 22, which is absolutely spiffing, of course. One of the big guns out there on the soft compound tyre, Meraki, didn't go for the wet pole points. Here's the first of the big names to really try and punch in a fast lap on the red stripe soft compound tyres. 14.4 is the benchmark, currently held by Calder, or by Fimex, I should say. I'm expecting we're going to be a decent amount quicker, but through that chicane, the treacherous chicane, as he loses the back end as well through turn number 9, through 7 and 8, make a big mistake, and Kareem 7T, well, the bad luck continues.
Well, just misses out on that pole, and that Audi now is going to have a 5-place grid penalty here after colliding with Meraki. So ultimately, the AMG Mercedes is going to turn around, look at that and go, well, what are you playing at, mate? And I'm sure Karen will know, contact on an outlap, no less, is never going to get the job done.
Not at all. When you need to try and recover, didn't score any points last time out in Monaco, crashing early on after being caught up in Tom 97's collision. We go into the 13th for the first time. Back at the sharp end with Concept 7, 13.996. But Kareem 70 needs to try and get his act together here. He was a little bit off the pace as well in Monaco, which was a bit surprising considering he is a former winner of that Grand Prix. Just looked a little bit of a step behind the likes of Tim McMurdoch, Alex Gill and Lolanoba that were fighting in the end for the 3 spaces on the podium.
Well, you can see he's got his World Cup repping at the moment as he tries to pivot on through the the left of turn number 5 and over towards turn 7 and 8. Out there on track, really having to fight and try and get himself through these corners. He knows that he's got to set himself up and use that deployment as well as he possibly can. It's that 50-50 split now between the power that is put in through the engine, which is there through the normal fuels that they use, and then the electrical energy that now drives 50% of the power. I know it's going to change over more years to go away from that balance with the removal of the MGUH, but there is certainly a real sense that there is going to be a lot of differences for how this era is going to drive. Karim 70 goes P6 with that fastest time out there of a 1:13.4 with Fimex there in second, and Meraki up into third position. Safsho finding a very good first time. Lolly up to the top on a 13.3.
Reigning champion taking over at a place that he usually finds himself very familiar. Still waiting for some of the other names. Tiamat Marduk, Alex Gillen, both out there on the circuit at the minute. Adam Sanderson, first time we've seen Devon Butler so far this season. He's so good looking that he ended a conflict before it even began. You can work out for yourselves what conflict that we were talking about there. We don't have his face there, unfortunately, as well. So we
It's
say
too
he's so
beautiful.
good-looking,
It's too good looking.
Precisely. We don't, but other way around, we don't have the evidence there. So how do we know?
Well, we go by localized spottings. It's very much like a Yeti, say, for example, T-Dub.
I see. Good first sets, to be fair, for Adam there. Tiamat Marduk, I think, is having some internet issues. Has had a pretty poor middle sector for the championship leader. Bailed out on that one, going again on this set of the soft compound tyres. Alex Gillen halfway around the lap as well. Fastest in the first sector by a decent whack as well. Couple of tenths quicker than Kareem. Couple of tenths quicker than Lolinoba.
Yep, so we know that Tiamat Marduk is very good at winning the opening rounds, but when he has done, he's never gone on to win the championship, and that is going to be a very telling mark he wants to get away with. Alex Gillen there, or Lord Gillen as he wants to be called for this season, up in third position then in the Haas, who is 2/10 off the pace. That guy Vince there in fourth position and really looking good right now in terms of the team's setup here right now, T-Dub. For Alpine, fourth and fifth, they will take that to the bank laughing.
Looking very strong there at Enstone. Didn't have the best of times last week. Vince was in and around the top 5 for the majority of the race, but Fimex getting embroiled in a couple of instances. One big one early on with Gwatz going through to back that ended his day slightly prematurely. Got a second life, of course, because we had a couple of restarts. Tom 97 down in P9. We've seen that he has been struggling for pace just a little bit. Saw it in Monaco, clearly continuing here into Barcelona. So one of the perennial contenders, which we usually see Tom 97. He's so quick. His raw pace is absolutely exceptional. Just finding himself on the back foot again in these early stages.
Yeah, and if you're leaving yourself not much time to go and get the magical lap in, it's going to be even tougher to go and get that result. Razin down in 18th, scored points for being the cleanest driver, and he doesn't even know how he did it because he was jumping around from pillar to post. Safsho then having a drop, which will certainly not help his efforts out there at the moment, as he currently sits 7th in the Ferrari down in the pit, so he's going to have to work hard to get himself back. Look at the way that Red Bull has to try and turn in through 10 and 11 and into 12 at Bank Sabadell. You just want the car to plant itself in Z mode, which it is in at the moment, and so you're now looking to try and get it over to X mode as quickly as you can, which is where the rear wing flap opens up, and Razin Chai is a full half-second clear.
Absolutely aced it. One of 4 former pole sitters here at Barcelona. Nobody has taken pole position twice at this circuit in the Creator Series, but that is quite the benchmark to stamp down on your rivals. Alex Gillen's matched him, got a little bit quicker, in fact, in the first sector, but traffic into the 7-8 chicane. One of the McLarens, I think it's Ryan Lady 3, who's down in 17th. Tiamat Marduk gets a time on the wall, but only good enough for P5. 7/10 down on the provisional pole sitter.
Incredible, isn't it? The difference that you see, 7/10 of a second is an age of Turnham, and Ryan L83 really struggling and wiggling about. A former iRacing driver with a team called Radicals Online back in the day, T-Dub. He was part of one of the best teams in the world. It's clear to say that he's lost a step maybe from those days, but he's trying to gain that back. Gillen crossing the line, goes second at 3.5 tenths off the pace with 4 minutes to go. That screams to me, got to get back to pits. One set of tyres, one lap to go, banzai.
Yeah, second run on those tyres. Really interesting when you look at his sector times. Purple first sector, improvement personal best in the middle sector, and then not a personal best in the final sector. So that would tell you maybe there's still a little bit for Alex Gillen to extract. Whether there's just over a third of a second, I'm not too sure, because I think Razin's time has put a couple of eyes on stalks there with that performance from the Red Bull Racing driver. Meraki, something about being a snake, yada yada, slithering around the final sector. Down in P8 at the moment, former two-time champ, of course. Be looking to try and find a big chunk of time on this, potentially his final run.
Yeah, so Meraki knows he has got to set this run up. He has got to give himself as much charge as possible, and you're trying to find any ways to do it. In fact, he'll dive into the pits looking to get that recharge, and then he'll get himself a fresh set out there. And of course, here in Creator Series, we don't need to worry about hitting the lane mark out there and speeding into the pits. You just drive in at full bore and say, right, I am going to chuck it in with everything you can. Concept 7 completing his 24-hour stream challenge. However, when the race concludes, it'll be at least 27 hours. So I would say sleepy driver at the wheel, 1.1 off the pace. This is going to be a mad scramble here at Barcelona to get yourself the track position, because with this being a high downforce circuit here, T-Dub, it means dirty air is going to make a huge difference.
Going to make overtaking very difficult. Yes, in these cars, the dirty air isn't quite as strong as it is in the 25 cars, but going to be something drivers have to deal with, along with an ego retirement. Razin Chai gone for one effort out there, absolutely blitzed it. Only driver in the 112s. He's gone, you know what, everybody? You can try and chase that. Beat that lap time, lads, because I don't think you can.
Yeah, that's going to be really tough to go over the top with. And so if you think that you can save a set of tyres by not having to go out any further, that's great. I also want to point out here in these final stages here, look at how the cloud cover has slowly pulled its way over the circuit.
It's going to start to cool things down ever so slightly. And around a circuit like this, where you're putting a lot of load into the front tyres and the rear tyres, that might just make things a little bit more malleable for the drivers. Don't need to worry too much about overheating. Yes, there will be some lift and coasting going on, which can just keep the tyre temperatures in check a little bit more, especially through some of those higher speed corners. Not always going to be using full throttle with the way that the battery and the recharging is working. So an interesting dynamic as well to keep an eye on. Safso down on his personal best through the first couple of sectors, albeit only by 0.02 of a second.
Yeah, so down a little bit, needs to find a bit more. So Safso up over the top then into turn 13. And now looking for that 14th and final turn at New Holland. Trying to get this one set over to the mark. It is going to be a look over. And it is a 1:13.6, so short by 15 thousandths of a second to go and get there. Kieda here down all the way in 19th. And here's the bigger shock right now. GB is dead last.
Let's get a time on the board. Hasn't even been out there on the soft compound tyres. With 90 seconds remaining, yes, he does. You can just see there, outlap at the moment, pulling out of the pits. Not sure if he's on the soft tyres now, if he's gone out on the wets again. I presume he'll be on the soft compound tyres to go for one last dance right at the end of this qualifying session. See how highly he can place himself on the grid. Most race victories, of course, GB in the Creator Series. Someone that hasn't picked up a championship.
Yeah, someone who really should be looking to challenge out there. So I would be keeping a very, very close eye and saying how much does he want to jump up and give himself everything and then some, starting on the back foot this season after not turning up for the opening round. So keep an eye out on who is going to be screaming around these corners, getting themselves the result that they need here, because we've got yellows out trying to give each other the space on circuit. Slight improvement there by Kieda there in 19th place. Still 1.3 seconds off with half a minute to go before they are going to shut the doors on qualifying.
Improvement for Fimex up from P4 to P3, but still 0.4 of a second shy. Still a massive yawning chasm right at the sharp end for somebody to try and fill the space between Razin Chai and Alex Gillen. Gillen down only just on his personal best through sector 1, but that's not where the time's been lost. He lost 1/4 of a second to Razin Chai in the middle sector and a further 1/10.5 to Razin in the final as Kareem jumps up to P2. Still 1/3 of a second down though.
Here's the checkered flag, and so these last times going to come in. Matty D13 stuck in 18th position right now. We go to Adam Sanderson, who's currently in 12th and wants to try and jump on up the order even further. Stuck. Grid jokes as well in 17th. So Meraki needing to find something. Look at that battery just gone as he climbs to 3rd there with that effort. Great stuff then from Meraki flying about. Alex Gillen has got draft here to try and pull to the line. Lolinova goes 2nd and Alex Gillen stuck in 5th. So Karim 70 has had the lap invalidated, will not improve. So it turns to Fimex then as someone who could maybe upset the apple cart. Maybe this guy, Tiamat Marduk, championship leader. Does he have something in the 11th hour to go and work with? Fimex stays 6th. GB up to 8th then, and 6/10 off of the fastest time out there. Can Tiamat Marduk find the magic here through the final section of corner? He's down in 10th with Tom 97 up there. He goes 7th on a time that is almost half a second off the pace. Ryan can't improve out there. Savshow's lap is done, and so that is that for qualifying. Critically, Razin Chai didn't need to Razin try.
What a lap that is. First driver to take 2 pole positions here at the Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona, and that is quite the exhibition, quite the statement from Razin to lay down. Didn't even need to go for a run at the end of the session when the track was at its best. Over a quarter of a second clear of the reigning champion. So big names maybe under-delivering a little bit. Tiamat Marduk, messy final lap. Didn't find improvement in the middle sector. Not a particularly good final sector either. GB only 10th with that one run. And Tom 97 down in P8 as well. Little bit of a mixed up grid potentially going into this, which could make for a fascinating opening few laps.
And it will do, especially noting that we're going to be on 2-stop strategy at the bare minimum, with the hards, the mediums, and the softs all having to be used over the course of the race. But confirmation then here in qualifying. It is a wonderful result out there for Razin Chai, who has put himself right up on the pointy end, Scott.
Yes, he has. Okay, bang qualifying session. Razin coming in clutch. I feel like he needs to prove himself. Things got a little bit spicy last week with Razin. And yeah, I think, do you know what? He just wants to come out nice and clean and just sort of win that. Do you know who I felt sorry for? Kareem. Okay, so Kareem got that 5-place grid penalty, and I went back and looked why. So he tried to get out of the way of Meraki. I think maybe turn 7 it was. The really kind of sharp corner. He thought he got out of the way. Meraki got by him. There was not a single bit of contact, but then the game just 5 grid place penalty. And then obviously it's just not kind of went too well from after that. So unfortunate, but again, that's just what happens when you've got 22 creators from around the world in a lobby. Sometimes you're going to have a bit of that, right? Jake, just sum up that qualifying session for me. How was it for your end?
Well, I think it set itself out as Karim now is going to be the driver to beat. You don't often in the Creator Series see a massive gap like that at the front, and everyone was looking around trying to put themselves together, get the lap, and not necessarily going out there and finding it, which I think goes to show that you really have to be switched on to where the battery deployment is. On any first season out there, it's going to be tough, but give it, I would say, a month, and you'll really start to see who's been putting the time and the effort in to get up to speed and who's out there looking for the content.
Talking about putting the time in to understand the battery, I think you're 100% correct. Tom, do you think some of the creators have really focused on the race? Because the qualifying's weird, okay? When you have to lift and coast in qualifying, it's weird. Do you think a few of the creators have went, you know what, I'm getting ready for race pace? Because if you nail that, that is a lot of time.
I think there'll be an element of that, yeah. With the way that these cars work and because the battery's so important, time trial for Creator Series practice isn't really that helpful, especially for qualifying, because it's so far and away removed from what we actually see. You basically just learn the physics of the car and that's it. And you can do that in a qualifying session anyway. So I think there will be an element of that, definitely. But you've got to learn about the tyres as well. Obviously, we're forcing drivers to use all 3 compounds. The soft tyres much improved in these 26 cars compared to 25. So drivers will need to gauge how much performance in a race situation they can extract out of those soft tyres. And on the other end, how overpowered or how good still are the hard compound tyres in comparison to the other compounds.
Yeah, no, you've got a good point. All right, okay, Jake, I'm putting you on the spot, mate. Someone's got to win this race. There's probably going to be 5 safety cars until we get there. Who is going to win this race?
Alex Gillen.
Well, I love it. Going with the data, man. I love it. Lord Gillen. All right, Tom, give me a name.
I don't want to be really boring and say Razin because he's absolutely blitzed qualifying. Yeah. I'm going to be interested to see how the run down to turn 1 goes with Razin and Razin and Lolanoba on the front row, considering what we saw 7 days ago in Monaco. I'm smelling something a bit different. I'd like to see a Kareem 7T fight through the field. I think when he's got the bit between his teeth, that chip on his shoulder is, the pointy elbows, as people like to describe Rory McIlroy, for example. I think that's when we see Kareem at his best. So I think he could be a real big favourite, despite only going from P8.
You're right. It's a bit all or nothing, right? It's either the best driver in the grid or is at the back with damage. It feels like a lot of the time. All right, guys in the chat, let us know who you think's going to win this race. Also, I say every week because I mean it. Create a Series is a banging organisation, and throughout the week, we give you behind the scenes and highlights of all of the events on our social media, Instagram, TikTok, all of that around. So, if you want to see some of the driver POVs and just a bit more cool things throughout the week, make sure you're following us on social media. And as usual, tell a friend about us. We can only go bigger and bigger and do more cool Super LAN events and all of these amazing opportunities that the Creator Series has been a part of. And the reason we're able to do that, followers and things like that and views on videos, it really does mean a lot. We don't need just to support us financially, but share our stuff. Let us know how you found it. And yeah, of course, I can't wait. But yeah, do you know, see if I had to choose someone that's going to win this race, I'm going to go Tiamat Marduk. Ben Daly, I have a weird feeling that he's maybe not the man you would go to for like data and battery and like slower driving. I've got a funny feeling he's going to luck his way through this. I think it's just going to suit him. I really do. All right, I have been told the formation lap is underway so that you don't miss any of the action. We're going to head on there. Jake, Tom, have a banging time and we'll see you soon.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. And now is the, I would say, summer of contentment for those that are in the front and a summer of discontent for those at the back who have to now try and navigate themselves through. T-Dub, I think it is very clear when they set themselves up on for 66 laps worth of racing action. They have to be absolutely switched on from the early moments of this race, because this is the sort of circuit that once you see a gap, once you have to try and claw back a margin, it's going to be a nightmare, you know, encased in pretty much the worst kind of day afterwards that you find. You have to be within the range.
Especially with what we could be about to see with the first proper Creator Series race in the 26 regs. You have to be really clinical. You have to be really decisive with your overtakes, with your strategical gambles as well. When you're going to recharge, when you're going to drop the battery, the tyre wear as well. There's so many external factors that the drivers have got to think about here. It's going to make for a fascinating evening's action. I hope you're all excited for this one. If we're looking at the form horses for this, only 2 drivers have won the Spanish Grand Prix before, both with 2 wins each. One of them the man on your screen, Alex Gillen, the other one being Tiamat Marduk.
So if those 2 are the masters of this place, there's either got to be a way to break the deadlock, or there's got to be a way where they sit back and say this is where they've got to be. Alex Gillen here, though, T-Dub, has gone off at a rate of knots. He's going to have some incredibly cold tyres at the start.
You will. Going to be sat on the grid for a hell of a long time. Got to be careful you don't get disqualified, because we saw some issues last week in Monaco. A couple of restarts going on, a couple of donuts as well, as they really tried to fire those tyres up. Maybe a little bit too much. Ricky 03's been disqualified. Hopefully that doesn't go badly, touch wood. Interesting strategical calls as well. Tiamat Marduk on the hards, Razin and Meraki in the top 3 on the softs, the guys around on the mediums.
Look at how much you lose in terms of a grid box if you get disqualified there. Really tough to deal with. Happy then is Safsho, who's going to have to line himself up. Look at it, about a third of a box behind. That's the difference of about 5 meters, if you're not to, well, a meter or 2, and that can be 3, 4, 5 meters by the time you get to turn 1. So let's get ourselves set then here in Creator Series. Round 2 of the championship gets itself set from Barcelona. 5 lights about to pull themselves together. Let's get racing now here at Barcelona. Razin Chai getting off the marks very nicely there. Meraki then in third is going to sit himself in line. Already yellows out there off of the start as they work themselves in towards turn number 1 for the first time. Outside line tries Meraki or Lolanova. Lolly having none of it in the Cadillac, and he says, no, you're not going to find my way through. Side by side, Carrot 70 trying to get around Fimex for position. They work themselves to turn 4 for the first time. Nice start.
Dives down the inside of turn 4 as well. Given the timer down the inside to try and work one over on the Alpine. 8th on the grid. Could be P5 as we come into the middle. Setting a Ferrari round in the background. Red Bull thrown into the gravel as well. Big contact, big cluster going on in the midfield. What is happening here? Surely we're going to see something from the race directors. Grid Joke spun round, pirouetting 360 degrees. Tom 97's disconnected from the session as well. Ferrari deep into the chicane also. Absolute bedlam.
It is Riccio 3 dropping down the order as well. A disastrous start then to this race. A massive crash up between 4 or 5 different cars, and ultimately not even yellows out there for it. Such is the way that this lap 1 has gone. Look at that, almost a tag for Nick Flies, who's trying to get himself through. I'm sure there'll be some front wings that have been deposited about here, and drivers having to navigate through the damage they've got dealt with in the early stages. The middle of the pack looking absolutely chock-a-block. Into the pits comes Tom 97 then, with damage on his Williams.
I reckon cars got caught out by Tom 97's AI there, potentially going a bit slowly into turn number 4. Tim Mardick continuing to struggle to fire the hard tyres up. You can see Dak Gummins getting stuck in to the championship leader there. Outside, inside, turns to the inside eventually of turn 3. Then with nothing to fight for there on the exit, will have to slot in behind the Enstone-based Alpine car. Now, with his teammate just behind, Ryan Lady 3, I have to say, but looking very impressive so far this evening.
Yeah, Nick Flies then getting aggressive here with Adam Sanderson, who's stuck on the outside. He can't quite get the line into turn 5, and that's where the battery was so important to work around the outside. Brilliant use of deployment there from Nick Flies to get the position, and he's now going to leave him to the wolves behind as Concept 7 tries to fight with Clader for position. Chieda wants to get himself in and say, look, I want a bit more. And then you got Matty D13, who's there on the back. So massive stuff happening here in the mid-pack as they go under that brand new building in towards turn number 10 of the Keixer. And now look at GB get himself into play, because that is Fimex in front right now. How do you like your Aston Martin sandwich on Alpine bread?
These guys potentially realising the threat. Remember, if you fall out of the 1 second gap to the car in front, no longer DRS, it's the boost overtake mode when the Delta or the heads-up display turns bright beautiful blue as GB does charge down the inside of Fimex into turn 1. Don't want to lose that extra battery and that extra energy that you can deploy throughout the course of the lap if you're within the 1 second to the car in front. That's going to be important as well.
Yeah, and still can't quite find a way to make it happen. That boost overtake is going to be really, really critical in terms of the way that you try and set yourself up and try and get through. I like it being a boost, but I would much prefer, T-Dub, for it to be a curly-whirly, because you could walk across the ladder and get the place, just like what Safsho has done right now over Ryan L83.
Clinical move. That's what we said. Drivers need to be clinical. When they see the opportunity to go for a move, you have to be decisive in your decision making. And that is what the inaugural Creator Series champion managed there. Down the inside, diving down the inside into turn 5.
Yeah, nice stuff. And so Chieda then sits back and says, look, I want to be ready here on this. Now over then on one of these lovely zones where you can get that sorted. The big Duracell battery sponsorship there, trying to charge the engine, quote unquote, of that Williams. But I would say you're going to need a better pay packet than that from the Revolut sponsor car. Matty D13 covers it off. GB, fastest lap of the race.
Energizer Buddy might be more applicable there, considering how badly the Duracell's going. Raz is still comfortable out in front, but like you said, GB punching in purple sector times to get himself back up onto the haunches of Kareem 17 P5. No real breaks in the train until we get to Dak Gummins, who's hovering around a second off the back of his teammate. Then a big gap, courtesy of the cluster that we saw on the opening lap. Nick Flies 3 seconds off the back of the second McLaren of Ryan.
Yeah, and so they're going to be all over each other here, trying to scrap it around and get as many points as possible, because it is top 15 that scores those points. So you've got to try and get into that wheelhouse as quickly as you possibly can. Karim 70 at the moment, our focus in 5th, climbing up for the Campsa corner here at turn number 9, and now looking to attack along this straight over towards turn number 10. Still in Z mode, then working on in to this very tough middle ground. It's not as aggressive as it used to be in the 90s. It's not as tight as it used to be in the 2010s. Now it's this lovely middle ground as they fight through, and gives it a much better flow to this final sector.
Getting rid of that absolutely abhorrent chicane that would ruin all forms of racing you could potentially get around this circuit. There's an Alpine in the background going wide. That's Dak Gummins making a mess of the final corner. Lodley was close to the back of Razin, not going to make the move into turn 1, but last week's winner, Tim Mardick, is going to dangle the nose down the inside of Vince. That is easy as you like, starting to get those hard tyres, singing a lovely hymn. And Dak Gummins, after that mistake through the final corner, pays a hefty price.
Right, so what price is going to be paid then as we get some lovely moves set up then out there and saying, right, okay, how is that going to play? Away! Big move down the inside there. Look at that between Karim and Meraki. That for Meraki was a case of, I tried to cover the move, I wasn't quite there.
And Gillen had already disposed of the Mercedes of Meraki in the first sector, so that was Korean being opportunistic as ever. One of the punchiest drivers when it comes to racecraft, really confident under braking, and we saw that come to the fruition quite significantly there into turn 5. Chucking it down the inside clean as you like, and that's Jake losing a couple of places. He got pickpocketed there by the Audi.
Yeah, he very much did. Now, Scott, keep an eye on this. I want to bring you in for a moment on what happened on the start.
It's an absolute chaos. Tom 97, he is, as you can see, he's disconnected, and it's just an absolute chaotic time. I have no idea really what happens, to be honest, but I just felt like y'all guys needed to see a different POV. An absolute cluster show, and unfortunate for half the grid.
Well, look at that hand out there saying, oh, it's the universal sign, how tough it is already. First time penalty of the race goes to Grid Jokes. 3 seconds in the back pocket, and that is a missing front wing there for Grid Jokes as well. So obviously fighting with some aero imbalance on the front right, which will certainly not help push the car in through the clockwise corners on this clockwise circuit.
That is not going to be nice to drive. I'm surprised he hasn't bailed on that one and got a new front wing bolted onto his car. You can just see in the background there, that was Matt 212 under pressure from the Williams of Calder. Matty D13 returning to the Creator Series as well. Looking for an interesting move. This is Calder having a think about it through turn 6 and up towards turn number 7. Not really a regulation overtaking point, but with the closing speed you can have in these cars, courtesy of the battery deployment, we could be seeing some creative maneuvers potentially.
Yeah, it's not a case of you can go make the move anywhere. It's a case of you're going to have to try it somewhere out there, and there'll be some very weird places where you can do it. Someone like Lolinoba, for example, will certainly want to use his prowess to get up to the top. Batteries at full bore, but it won't matter too much. Lolly lifting over in towards turn number 1 then. That's going to shock me for a bit. GB trying to pick a pocket or two over Meraki. Please, sir, can I have an overtake? Meraki turns around. An overtake? No, of course you can't. Here goes Lolinoba. He might be able to get one here at turn 4 at Repsol. He's trying to work on the rear, and look at what he's trying to do on a set of mediums.
Just the smallest amount of contact there as the rear right of Razin brushing with the front left of Lolinoba. Still Meraki getting his elbows out in his staunch defense of P5. GB will have to go the long way around through turn 7. Can't force that maneuver off. Got to be careful of the sausage curve that is there, waiting to spit you and throw you aggressively into the Armco that surrounds the 7H chicane. GB looking aggressive here, still trying to make the most of his soft compound tyres.
Yeah, aggro is going to be the aim, and how long you can go. We talk about how when we had it in 25 spec here, T-Dub, that you could only use those tyres maybe well for about 5 laps before they were discarded and chucked away. Here, you probably could get it to about, I would say, what, lap 8, lap 9, and feel a little bit more comfortable. Maybe even go a little bit further if you know how to baby the tyres about.
Soft tyres will still be competitive at this stage, will have levelled out comparatively to the mediums, but there's still a decent race tyre for the drivers to be using. Again to the inside, GB this time has a little bit more space, this time has a little bit more of an overlap, and this time has P5 firmly within his grasp, taking it off the hands of the former 2-time champion. The lead could finally change hands as well to the inside of turn 4. Deja vu from the previous lap, although this time the Cadillac comes up trumps.
Yeah, and now he's going to have to think about covering the move. Otherwise, Razin Chai's going to chuck it back up the inside here. Still has overlap on the exit, but was pinched slightly there to try and get off the exit. The Cadillac just planting the car exactly where it needs to. So Lolinoba holds his ground over Razin Chai, and Alex Gillen there just stalking these two in third, not wanting to get into these games of I'll chuck a move here, I'll chuck a move there. This is very much a case of I'm just going to sit back, wait my chance, and just let the race come to me, which I don't think is a bad strategy this early on.
No, just try and sit in here. Try and work out where everything is. Just feel around, see what's going on for the drivers around you. Tim McMarlick, by the way, still just struggling a little bit on those hard compound tyres. Not entirely unsurprising, but was overtaken by that guy Vince on the previous tour. Now 3/4 of a second off the back of the Alpine. Got a little bit of comfort to his former teammate Sapso behind, but just struggling to make gains in these early stages. As once again, this time Razin charges back through on the run down into turn 1, and the pole sitter back up into the lead of the race.
Yep, so a very nice, accomplished change then for position, as that is Razin Chai back into play. His teammate, Nick Flies, really fighting here with Ryan L83. And back down the order, you got Matty looking behind here at Chappers, making great progress out there in the Aston Martin. He's in 16th, looking to try and get himself upwards, or otherwise known in the F1 folklore teed up as the Nepenthes position.
16th! Easy top 3 is what he thought when he crossed the line. Tom 97, fastest lap of the race. Only issue for him is he's down in P20 and has disconnected twice, maybe thrice so far in the opening 9 laps. So not good news at all for the former pole sitter here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Lolanoba has a look to the outside of turn number 10, but Razin has that comfortably covered for the time being. But I think we are just starting to see the major crossover point now. GB and Meraki in particular struggling on the soft compound tyres. Razin definitely lacking a little bit of rear grip as well, comparatively to the trio of horses galloping up behind him.
Yeah, they're all there. They're queuing up at the gates, trying to say, right, departure time is in T-3, 2, 1. Lifting is Lolanoba, not wanting to go out there and attack that one straight away. And these drivers will also be keeping an eye out on where they are on fuel margin. If they have underfueled the car, they can use the early stages basically to calm themselves down, get themselves into play. Ryan with time warnings out there again. Turn 4 seems to be a place where you can just pick a pocket and say, right, I can go through. Ryan there, Alex Gillen, now putting himself into play right now in the Toyota Gazoo Racing Haas that is out there at this point, trying to really work through. Oh, look at it. He tries to think about the inside at 7. Do not leave any door ajar because Alex Gillen could bolt on through. Even the cat flap needs to be locked.
He'll batter his way through the door by any means necessary. Here we go again. Deja vu once more for Lolly. This time he's not quite close enough. Does he try to hang it around the outside? Bit more of an overlap as he's just squeezed to the extremities of the circuit and once again has to sit in behind the Red Bull. He's clearly decided thus far moving to turn 1 isn't necessarily worth it, but with Alex Gillen right up on his haunches at the moment, we'll see if he changes tact.
Well, who said Barcelona was a boring race circuit when you got cars like these out there and battling it out there? This is where Gillen, I think, is going to have to be very choice on whether he wants it or not. And he's thinking about it, gets in the mirrors, half feint of an attack turns to a defense from Lolanoba, just basically covering off the dive bomb move by getting across and making Razin Chai think about it. Look at the difference here. If they work through, we could be 3 wide. Here as we head to turn 4. Gillen stuck on the outside. Lolanoba couldn't quite get the angle that he wanted, but Gillen is going to try and work his way into the inside here of 5, and he might die for the race lead. Look at this from Alex Gillen. From 0 to hero, wiggle on the exit. Razin's going to get himself the drive now into turn 7 at TV3. Lovely stuff on the battle. Gillen to second.
Just a little bit too lively with the loud pedal as he planted the right foot, desperately trying to get an overlap on Razin on the run down into turn 7. Couldn't quite make it work, but this is Alex Gillen in full flow at the moment. We know how comfortable he is with the battery deployment and the strategy that he's been working on the opening few weeks since the 26 DLC came out. I think he's going to be looking at trying to take the lead away from Razin with these soft compound tyres. Definitely past their best at this stage.
If I'm GB, do you know what I'd do in this situation? I'd pit and I would undercut.
Pull the trigger. I like it. Try and shake things up. Maybe just try and pull a move and a reaction from somebody like Razin. Do you stick it out or do you still just get embroiled in these battles right at the lead of the train? This is Meraki. He's been going nowhere other than backwards so far. Another place lost down into turn 1 as Dak Gavins flies on through, also on the medium compound tyres like his teammate who got past a couple of laps ago. There's Keir McMahon lurking just behind. This is Alex Gillen lurking down the inside now into turn number 4. Favoured overtaking position on the circuit. Has Razin got the grip around the outside to keep a foothold in the battle? Answer no, but he's brave under brakes again into turn 5. This time, Alex Gillen's going to be on the outside. Oh, rolls reverse compared to the previous lap. And it is Razin that has to fall behind.
And what I'm noticing here from these 2026 cars, T-Dub, is that the inside is not working as much as the outside is. If you've got the ability to get to the power earlier and just square the car up, it's so much easier to fight on the outside than it is sometimes on the in. I think this is a car that's going to play its mind. I don't know how you feel about it, that you've got to square it up as quick as possible.
It's that argument of Ving the corner off or Ewing the corner off. Do you try and rotate it as much as possible, or do you keep the revs high, try and keep the minimum speed as high as you possibly can? And that's the dynamic we're just starting to see in these early phases. It's the first proper battery ERS racing that we've seen so far in the season so far as Meraki peels off into the pits to lay his soft compound tyres to rest. Razin fancies it again down into turn one. It'll be the long way around outside of one. We'll turn to the inside of two. Gillen just about leaves in the space, but not quite enough for Raz to slide the Red Bull alongside.
No, definitely a case of Razin Chai having to back out. This now brings Lolanoba back into position. What an incredible front group we have had to start things off, but they've got to keep Meraki in mind because Meraki is going to maybe launch himself onto this group if they're not careful and they continue battling in this ilk. And so it's note for Fimex, it's note for that guy Vince that maybe they want to put themselves in on a strategy call out there. How cool is it as well right now, Tom, to see 6 manufacturers in your top 6?
Absolutely huge. We've got another couple inside the top 10 as well. Watch out for Tim McMardock, who's just starting to set some fairly competitive sector times on his hard compound tyres as this group of 5 cars out in front battle quite hard at the moment. Bit of a wobble there for Razin on the entry into turn 10 and as he lit up the rear tyres on the exit as well.
Ryan getting by Nick Flies. That for the final points to look around at what would be on a conventional point system. But that will be good enough to move into 10th. So that's for 6 championship points in the back pocket. Now back to the main straight. No takers then to cover off the Meraki move. So they will focus on their own strategy. Tim Marduk through on that guy Vince. No offers into turn number 1 as it is the fabled 5 who are there at the front. Gillen, Chai, Lolinoba, Karim, and GB all sat there, all trying to say, look, this is what our race is all about, and we're going to try and figure out everything you've got. From the popcorn position then, GB watching all of this carnage unfold.
You have to respect the work that Razin's doing at the moment. Significantly handicapped with the problems that he's having with his tyres at the moment, but able to just stay really calm when he's fighting really hard with Gillen, fighting really hard with Lolinoba as well, keeping his head firmly screwed on and not pointing backwards, as we've seen a couple of times, not just for Razin, but a few other drivers so far this season, doing a good job to hold firm and keep a lid on the potential time he could be losing by staying, or dropping out, I should say, off this group of cars. And it's giving himself a little bit more flexibility strategy-wise the longer that he stays with Alex Gillen, who, of course, is on the mediums.
Yep, and Alex has the ability to go a little bit longer than everybody else at this moment, and it's interspersed right now, medium, soft, medium as they go through the top 3. Then 2 more soft runners in Karim and GB. Medium for Fimex and Tiamat Marduk, a bit of a wild card at the moment. He's done really well to set himself close to this group on a set of hards. In comes Safsho. Here comes the move for the race lead. Not there.
Very nearly contact. Just maybe a bit of a Code Brown moment there for Razin as he almost got his braking slightly wrong and clattered into the side of Gillen. Tim McMardock, by the way, was a second quicker than the leaders on the previous lap. Here comes the ERS being deployed by the reigning champion. Just enough space to the inside of turn number 5. Kareem 17 watching, waiting, trying to potentially pick up the scraps from any fireworks that come up to play. And GB as well to the outside. Have we ever seen close quarters racing like this in the Creator Series? Lolly has to go defensive. Kareem gets boxed in. Through comes GB68 to the outside as the yellow flag's out. Fimex and Tim McMardock have had a bit of a drama in the middle sector. Kareem goes to the back of this group. Reigning champion getting mugged by the Aston Martin as well.
Mega, absolutely mega at that moment. Tiamat Marduk dropping down like a stone into 8th place, but what brilliance then we've seen from GB, just trying to wake himself up. Lolinoba now having to fight on this side-by-side and figure out where am I going to get myself in. Side-by-side through 13, now trying a long way at 14. That's not going to work, but is now going to be on this main straight, trying to find his pass here on lap 16 of 66. It's going to have to be in towards turn 1. Look at it. Throwing defenses everywhere, and suddenly, if you don't attack, you're going to have to defend here because Karim just says, yoink, I'm going to take that one.
Tim McMardock into the pits as well. Must have picked up damage. He did
Front
not
wing.
want that, having to throw away those hard compound tyres. New front wing bolted on the car. Not good news after he was battling away with Fimex. Must have come a cropper potentially into the couple of corners that we're just looking at now.
Yeah, at the moment, you would say on the... Oi, that's a bit of contact for Karim on the back of GB. Gives him a little bit of a friendly tap to say notice is there into position. So very tough was the margin there to go and deal with out there at this point. Scott, Tiamat Marduk.
So unfortunate what happened. You'll see it in a second. Ben done absolutely nothing wrong. Fimex loses it, and he goes straight into it.
Unbelievable. I'd throw the hand up and say, what am I supposed to do? You catch someone in a tank slapper and you just got to be reactionary And for someone who's such a veteran of the series, T-Dub, could you argue that Tiamat Marduk is missing a step on his reflexes?
Potentially, it's difficult as Kareem peels off into the pits, gets shot of those soft compound tyres, but it was a bit... There was the overcorrection from Fimex. He initially lost it to the left, then brought it back to the right, and then obviously flung into the path of first Tiamat Marduk and then the wall on the right-hand side. Just as old man Daly, as you've called him there. Can't quite react in time, but yeah, unfortunate one. I don't think you can, I think it's a very easy situation. We go, well, you could have reacted a bit better, but when you've got the speed, you've got the closing speed, and suddenly someone just loses it in front of you, there is that little bit of time for your brain to process, hang on, I need to try and do something here.
Yeah, Karim, stop, done, and off and away. He's there in 12th position and looking to try and go through. It was a little bit old man Daly there in terms of the way he couldn't react in time to get himself around. And that's the sort of moments where if you're young and you're hungry, you can get yourself out of trouble. When you're older, you just have to consign yourself to fate in that regard. Lolinoba here in 4th position, still looking for a way to get by GB. And if they're not careful, they'll be out of boost overtake mode here to Razin Chai. There goes the pass, and it is confirmed there by Lolinoba in the Cadillac, but really going to have to work 9/10 of a second, just clinging on like a rock climber to that 1 second window.
Dumping that battery does, I think, going to keep himself within 1 second to get the extra overtake mode, despite losing it out of the final corner. Just to clarify for people as well, Meraki has been through the pits. 5 laps he's got on his second set of tyres. That's medium tyres, pitted 5 laps ago. Was struggling in the early stages on a set of soft compound tyres that were starting to fall away.
And I'm shocked that he's so far behind Karim 70 here, that he's 3 seconds down the road, and Karim is making progress here on Matt 2-on-2. Easily dispatches of that one. Adam Sanderson just in front. Is this going to be one where you say, oh, I want to be in clean air, I want to go and attack? I argue actually quite the opposite with the way boost mode works, and you've got all of this deployment that's there. I think you just want to dangle, make your pit stop be about a second off the back of another car.
Yeah, it's so tactical, isn't it? And that's something that I think we've spoken about a couple of times in the last few Creator Series races, the tactical element of motorsport and motor racing, and also the game as well. That's a big slide. That's Kareem 17 to the side of Adam Sanderson. Will he have picked up any damage? Matt 2-on-2 says, thank you very much. I'll pick that one up on a silver platter. That was just a little bit messy there as Kareem, just a little bit too ambitious on the loud pedal. And yes, missing that front right end plate. And that's another one of the perennial contenders having a bit of trouble out there.
Well, you've got to know that Adam Sanderson's trying to get off the corner quickly. The rears light up because there's just not enough mechanical grip there to help out. And then the car just snapped. And Karim, who's there on the inside, who'd already nibbled to get there and force Adam Sanderson off the line that he maybe would have wanted, suddenly gets an end plate knocked out. And he can't do anything about that until his next stop, in my view. I think he's going to have to sit with the damage.
Absolutely. Unless we see a safety car, we'll be doing the safety car dance at this stage to hopefully give himself an opportunity to change that front wing. He's going to fly past Matt 2-on-2 down into turn number 1, but that is going to be a significant pace loss for the Audi driver. Remember, didn't score points last time out in Monaco. Only managed less than 4 laps of the main Grand Prix before he clattered into the sideways Aston Martin of Tom 97, who spun through the swimming pool chicane, and his front left tyre, I believe it was, front right in fact, ripped from the car, and his day ended fairly prematurely.
Yeah, grid jokes, fastest lap, 1:16.3. Now, we do note there are points on offer, bonus points available, and they're all there for a number of different reasons here. So you've got to be very switched on for it, T-Dub, because you get the points for pole, the wet tyre pole. You also get the fastest lap, the cleanest driver, the most overtakes, and the driver of the day.
All of the post-game or post-race awards that the game hands out, there are potential opportunities to pick up points, everybody, so you've got to try and keep your wits about you. If you're making overtakes, make them stick. If you're trying to be clean, make sure you are absolutely clean on that, as Kareem 17 not getting bogged down at this stage by the front wing damage as he cruises up to the back of the Racing Bulls of Concept 7, who has yet to stop so far. 19 laps make it 20 on his set of medium compound tyres. This should be a fairly regulation pass for the Audi, and is, but that is Concept having to defend from Matt 2-on-2. He's getting boxed in behind the Audi, has to back out of that one. And Concept 7 brave under brake's going to send him slightly offline and out of kilter through turn 2. Meraki disposes of his teammate Adam Sanderson, drifting through turn 2 just in the background. Matt 2-on-2 still right, tucked up underneath the rear wing, ducking and weaving all over the back of Concept.
Yeah, bob and weave, bop and weave. He was very much dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge out there. The 5 rules of dodgeball weren't enough, though, to go and make that pass. So Matt 2-on-2, I think, is going to sit back and say, right, I tried it. The different lines really trying to be aggressive into turns 2 and 3 didn't quite pay off. And so I'd be sitting back going, I've got to be aggressive, especially knowing that Karim 70's got a missing end play on the front wing out there that made all the world's worth of difference. Lolin over here, lap 21 of 66. Now eyeing up Razin Chai here and thinking, okay, how far do I need to go? I would argue here, you're probably looking at how am I going to reverse engineer this race so I can get the soft tyre as much as possible. Maybe even 22, 22, and 22 is the best place to go as we get confirmation that Ben, who is traditionally deep in the tank in terms of his fuel, -6 in terms of laps. He might need to go into some electric fuel saving as Nick flies pits.
He'll need a hell of a lot of safety cars to try and recover that one. A lot of lift and coasting going on, you'd imagine, for the championship leader. But for the first time, Razin falls outside of 1 second of Alex Gillen. Is this going to be the port of call now? The alarm bells ringing to get shot of those soft compound tyres. Lolly has been a little bit ragged, a little bit wild in the past couple of laps. Had a big slide through turn 12 a few laps ago. Now with a wobble coming out of turn 9 as well. Harrying that Cadillac car. I think it's only going to be a matter of time before he gets past Razin Chai.
Razin Chai in second position, now realising that Alex Gillen has made a gap at the front, and it's a case of, well, I'm not going to let you have the chance to pit because Gillen's in, and so too. Then is Razin Chai. 21 laps. Oh, speeding! 10 for Gillen!
Wow, that is uncharacteristic. That is a big blunder for Alex Gillen to make, usually someone who's so careful with things like that. And it's the curse of the race leaders, curse of the potential runners and riders to try and take this. Another one falls foul of something going on. It's the 10-second pit lane speeding penalty. Music to the ears of Karim 7T. He's going to blast back through, I think. There is the Haas being spat out of the pits. It's going to be side by side into turn 1. Karim will have the overspeed and will have it around the outside. But that is a very uncharacteristic mistake.
It is, and it sure says we know how to pick them in a race like this one. Very tough to navigate through, and maybe was just trying to hit those marks. It would have been the first time that we've seen a pit lane over the course of this season, T-Dub, hitting absolute anger because, of course, the Monaco pit lane, you don't really have to do that much braking for.
You have to be careful if it's real life, though, of the lines on the inside that sometimes give you penalties, sometimes don't give you penalties, sometimes they can be removed, but sometimes they can't be removed.
Yes, it's the magic 8 ball of penalties, isn't it?
It is absolutely. The magic 8 ball, not just the penalties, but the FIA as well.
Yeah, and not only that, T-Dub, if you're dealing with the magic 8 ball of penalties, you know that if you're English, you automatically lose on penalties.
You do. You do. That's dagger to the heart of everybody. But back to the action. GB68 into the pits, getting rid of his soft tyres. Good stint for GB. Did lose a little bit of time at the end to Razin and to Lolino, but just a couple of seconds. Hard compound tyres bolted onto the green machine. Also in the pits, Dak Vince, who has gone about his business quite quietly, but quite nicely as well.
Yeah, it's nice to see Vince actually having a quiet, untoward race. He as often gets caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time. GB leaving the pits, 9th position behind Meraki and is just ahead of Adam Sanderson, who is there in that 10th place. Now Gillen is going to try and get on the noisy pedal and start making moves here because he's through on Karim 70, and now he's really got to start building a margin because in a field as condensed as this, the biggest thing that Alex Gillen has to try and get around is the penalty situation. And I'd argue on a 10-second speeding penalty, you can actually get that served in the box out there rather than what you see with the corner cut penalties. And he might be angling here to hope for a mid-race safety car.
If there is a safety car, his luck's in, as it was a week ago in Monaco, because it nearly won him that race with a sort of late race safety car that got him into first position after Lolanover and Tim McMardock had made stops earlier on. But he did not want to get hobbled behind the wounded Audi of Karim 70. You can see they're just having to lift off the throttle courtesy of the understeer with that front wing damage. Reigning champion continues to soldier on, but Fimex into the box for the first time. Ryan Lady 3 also yet to pit out there.
Yep, so that very important strategy then from Fimex as he jumps in, looks at his service and goes, well, what am I going to get out of this and how far back am I going to go? Karim then just sits back, knows he doesn't have to do anything about Alex Gillen and knows behind is Razin Chai, who's also going to want to try and get him through and also is going to set himself up. Long stop there for Fimex. He'll fall back out in 12th place then and come out ahead of Tiamat Marduk by about a second as GB dealing then with Matt 212, who is due in for a first stop, as too is Ryan L83, who is in second position, driving really well, actually, in the McLaren is Ryan at this point. Hard Tyre doing a great job. There is Ryan, but he's got company there just behind in the form of, I believe, one of the lap down Williams there of XIII.
Yeah, Calder just tracing the footsteps there as that's Karim losing another spot. Through goes Razin Chai, easy as you like, maybe a little bit of battery burn as he takes 4th place away from Kareem 17. I think we are going to have a look at that little malady that befell the former champion.
Here you go, Scott.
Yeah, as you can see, it's Kareem and Sandy. Sandy locks the tyres up a little bit. Kareem goes for it, gets a little bit of kind of snap in the car, and then takes him out, and he's absolutely raging with himself. I've not got the clip, but like 30 seconds later, Kareem just smacks his wheel. He's not having a good day.
No, I would say he's a little bit frustrated, a little bit upset. You've got to vent it somehow out there, and drivers tend to take it out on their equipment. I saw at the Williams Winter Cup T-Dub that Lolinoba took it out on his own steering wheel there. So it's something that is, I would say, going through the paddock like a plague, hitting the steering wheel.
Yeah, and these are emotional guys, let's not forget. They're fighting, especially at the front, for some significant honours. Kareem under a little bit of pressure after not finishing in Monaco. Lolinoba trying to defend his championship. He wasn't a champion, remember, back in December when we had that incredible LAN event down at Williams, and he was right in the thick of the battle to pick up the Winter Cup Championship trophy, in the end going to Alex Gillen. But yeah, an interesting battle going on. We'll see that Kareem hasn't actually lost touch to Gillen and to Razin Chai, which is impressive, you have to say. It is significant front wing damage, and he's got older tyres as well, so doing a good job to just keep himself in the ballpark at this stage. He's got to be thinking more about the long term now. Yes, you're going to be in a bit of trouble in the short term, but can you just try and stick this one out? Take it deep, as you like to say in something like football or darts.
Well, Tiamat Marduk there, I wonder, yellow flags were out briefly in Sector 2. Was it him dropping time, or did someone else have an off there through that point in time? But okay at the moment. In comes Adam Sanderson then for his first stop, as Ben has to find a way back past Fimex for position. And right now he needs to erase the mistakes of earlier, wishes he has a bit of Tipex to go and cover that mistake. That will do that nicely though. Easy move.
That'll be smarting. After Fimex's mistake was the reason why Ben picked up the front wing damage. An unfortunate one for both involved, and Ben finally does get through. That's Razin Chai, very close, almost pushing Gillen down into the downhill braking zone of turn number 5. Still got the lap Williams of Calder just in front, and they're catching Ryan 83 at a rapid rate of knots at the moment. Of course, Ryan still out on the hard compound tyres that he started the race on.
Yeah, so there are a huge amounts of understandings that this is going to be, for those who haven't stopped, a chance where you need to go and get by. For those who have, they've got to get aggressive here, and they have got to get the elbows out on these overtakes. So you're sitting around here with Razin Chai. You've got to get the clearance there of the blue flags, and sitting over and across, allowing them to go through. That will ultimately add to the yellow flags that are out there for a car that's a little bit slower than most. But Fimex here down in 12th, still looking for a way back, but Ryan L83 under pressure now all of a sudden from this trio that's trying to get itself into play. Karim then starting to fall slightly off the back. Matt 212 making his first stop of the race.
Kareem's just got to be smart here. Make sure that he doesn't get stuck behind the McLaren, because you'd imagine the Haas and the Red Bull are going to blast past fairly easily. Gillen wants it into turn number 4. Dangles the nose to the inside. Ryan, I don't think, will fight that one too hard on much older tyres, and Razin surely is going to make this a very elementary move to the outside. Calder has retired. I believe that's in the pit, so we're not going to get the safety car. Beautiful move there, by the way, from Razin around the outside of turn 5. Yes, he's got much fresher tyres, but still executed absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, lovely stuff there. That was a very nice overtake. You weren't going to see anything more than just that being set up and saying, lovely job. Down to 21 then in this race. And for the moment, Alex Gillen again trying to think about how he builds a margin and builds a gap. You've got to be sitting back here if you're Gillen in the Haas and saying, look, I've got to get 10 seconds. Well, the first way you got to get to 10 seconds here, Tom, is you've got to get past 1 second first and foremost.
Absolutely. And there's still plenty to play for. Let's not forget 40 laps of this Grand Prix still in the future. Haven't got there yet. So a lot can still unfold and many things can still happen as here comes Raz into the inside into turn number 1. Gillen's going to fight this a long way around to the outside. Keeps the inside for turn 2. Uses a lot of curb there. Just unsettles the car ever so slightly. I think there was a little bit of contact there as well.
Yeah, there was a slight brush for XIII, and it's really elbows out as you work through 1, 2, and 3. And turn 3 is this massive, long hurter of the left-hand side tyres. As you try and work through, you need the car to pin itself through that corner, and it's making life very tough because you're trying to switch back, get out the dirty air, and basically pin off the exit. And when you've used all of the battery available here, T-Dub, through to get to turn 1, if you've got anything left at turn 3, that's the perfect place to dump it. A lot of people will use this back stretch here to turn 10 Lekaixa as the perfect place to start recharging the battery. You can see there with the rain light flashing.
And we're also seeing, with the exception of Razin on the previous lap, turn 1 not necessarily a favoured opportunity to make the move stick, which is, as you said, why we're seeing drivers burning the battery coming out of turn 3, trying it into turn 4, then trying to make it stick through turn 5 as well, because you've got the middle sector and the final sector as well to maybe try and build a gap. As Ryan, excellent stint on those hard tyres. GB with the fastest lap of the race. Are we going to see this move again down to turn 1? Once again, Razin has a little look, this time a little bit too far back. Lolly's still out there on his mediums. 14 seconds up the road is about a second a lap slower at this stage.
So what's game plan here for Lolinoba? Because as he sits there with 14 seconds on the margin, is he just trying to be uber aggressive with the hard tyres, or is he looking for a very nice stint on the softs that gets him to the end and he only needs a lap on the hards?
It's an interesting one because he's going to have to run one very short stint, whether that's a short and condensed stint on the hard compound tyres or a short blast on the soft compound tyres. That remains to be seen. He's giving himself some flexibility, and if a safety car comes now, he's in an absolutely golden position as the reigning champion. And his pace, you have to say, is still pretty decent considering he's on 20-plus lap older tyres. As to the inside of turn 10, this time Razin makes the move stick to push Gillen down to third.
Yeah, nice move, and a very accomplished one at that as well, which says, I am going to jump up the order, get to second, and now I can focus on my stint moving forward. 14 seconds to chase down. I don't think he's going to do it at the moment, but I'll tell you what would help him out there, T-Dub. A go setup would do a lot at gosetups.gg, because he knows that if he's competing in any video game out there, that it's going to say, look, you're going to maximize your performance. You've got to be out there and trying to use a code here with the Creator Series. You've got 10% off if you go to gosetups.gg and use the code CS10. Massive thanks, of course, to gosetups.gg for their support of the Creator Series. And, of course, we're very much looking forward to what gets achieved together out there in racing and what XIII can achieve here, trying to chase down Lolinoba.
And Cream17 paying the price of not being able to get past Ryan 83 that quickly, because he's now 3 seconds back down the road with an Aston Martin of GV68 to deal with as well. So that front wing damage hurting Cream, getting stuck behind the McLaren hurting Cream as well. Still in a very strong position, but just think what it might have been if it wasn't for that little tiny error going through turn 5 as he tried to get past Adam Sanderson.
So that is going to be where I think we say, look, Adam Sanderson, I think, starting to struggle now, and everyone, I think, is going to turn around and go, right, you're now on the fight for just getting a handful of points out there, and you've got to give yourself the platform to go for it to the end of the race. Alex Gillen happy, but look at what they've done here to Karim. They've pulled 3 seconds, and Karim really struggling now as GB is all over him like a hot rash, trying to go and get that move done easy as you like. And this is what happens when you get involved in someone else's business. That's the difference of what a front wing can make.
And this will be the debate he's having now, Kareem. Do I change it at the last stop, or do I just try and stick it out with this damage to the end of the race? It's going to be another 5 or 6 seconds potentially added to your time. Is he going to lose that comparatively? It'll be interesting to see what decision he makes as Tim at Marduk still battling away very hard with Thimex. These two been joined at the hip so far for the 31 laps we've had of the Spanish Grand Prix. Safso cruising up to the back of this duo as well in position number 10, our Season 1 champion, potentially getting embroiled in this scrap for supremacy between McLaren and Alpine.
Yeah, this is a lovely scrap that we are setting ourselves down with. There's still not a million miles left here to try and understand where the race is going to be as we are nearing that halfway stage. But Tiamat Marduk really fighting hard for it. Finally, Lolinoba hits the lane. 80 clicks. It is down on the mark as he hits that a dream and now looks to find his box and get that turn in sorted so that he can get more tyres on to go and attack. Now, I would say it's going to be white-walled hard tyres that are going to go on here, and I am correct in that assumption as he goes off and away once more. So I think he'll be looking at maybe only going for a 10-lap stint on these tyres. This is going to be a power stint to get the best out of the hard tyre.
Going to be a short sprint to the flag on soft tyres, bearing in mind, well, we still haven't had a safety car, and it's very much still a possibility, but Lolinoba alternate strategy compared to everybody else, and I absolutely love to see it. Here's Adam Sanderson down in P17 at the moment, but almost pushing Riccio 3 through the final corner. ERS being deployed by both, but you can see the light flashing at the back of the Ferrari. Hasn't got much left to burn. Neither of them using straight line mode down into turn 1, but Adam Sanderson, easy as you like under braking, takes 16th place off the hands of the Scarlet Ferrari.
Yeah, nice pass. Riccio 3 will look back there and go, yeah, not great. Gillen then in second. Razin Chai, currently your race leader. I turn around and look at that here, T-Dub, and ask you the question, is Lolinoba hanging out then with those soft tyres at the end? Is he going to be in this Alex Albon, George Russell style position where he's just hanging out for the safety car?
The problem Lolly has now is it's a precarious next 10 laps or so, because if we get a safety car in that little window, he's going to be in a very difficult position because the soft tyres, if he has to take them to the end around about 20 laps, you're going to be looking at a pretty tall order. The pace will be good early on, but then they will start to drop off. So in a precarious position, but if we get through the next 10 laps with no dramas, he's going to be looking at a very exciting end to the race, let's put it that way.
That excitement is going to make for all the world's worth of difference. 2.5. Then Alex Gillen has over GB, second and third. There he is in the back of shot. Razin Chai, comfortable out there in the race lead. And I think that's been the story of his run over the course of this. Qualified it so much better than everybody else. Had to do a lot of work to keep himself into position, but he's looked the most calm and consummate out there, has Razin Chai, especially off of the back of a 7th place finish at the season opener. I think he's really starting to send the alarm bells out to everyone else here around this circuit.
Season 5 champion, of course. Alex Gillen at this stage, not really a factor for himself, with that 10-second penalty looming over the head of the former 2-time champion. Look at the closing speed into the final corner. Less than 0.2 per second, separating the Bull and the Haas as they cut the beam to start lap 34 over the halfway point. Alex Gillen moves out to the middle of the circuit, but just lifting off, doesn't want it down the inside of turn number 1.
No, not yet anyway. Lolinoba dispatches a Meraki behind. That's a change for 5th place. Really closes up through the mid part. Now's going to get the launch then with the deployment into turn 4. And look at that from Razin Chai. Just does not even offer it as Mango is going to retire. And that is going to throw yellows out there. Virtual safety car deployed.
Lolinoba will be very happy. That is not a full course caution. Mango, his teammate, out of the Grand Prix, second retiree so far. I think that was a Racing Bulls jumping into the pit lane. Adam Sanderson also getting into the pit lane for a brand new set of boots. Yes, grid jokes. Riccio 3, I think, has had a problem as well because he's dropped down into last. Interesting one there for the Ferrari. He's now going to gain a few spaces back, courtesy of a lot of drivers in the pit lane. Just a word on the strategy for the leaders as well. They're almost identical. Both did 21 laps in their first stint, 13 laps on their current set of hard compound tyres. The difference being Gillen still has to use the softs, Razin still has to use the mediums, and that will be a fascinating dynamic in the latter stages.
So I would be turning around and saying, well, who's going to need what they need at the end? If Gillen has got the softs, I would be saying, right, how do you give yourself then a chance when you're going to be on a tougher tyre at the end? If Razin's going to be there on the mediums, he's going to be fighting on a tougher tyre, and that's going to hurt him for the first 10 or 15. Now the virtual safety car ends, and the green flag back out there. Karim taking that chance, and I think he gets a little bit stuck there, coming in and making that call. I think he wanted it a little bit longer, and he's been caught out.
just been called in at the wrong time. Front wing is going to be changed. He should be going to the end of the race. Still got the hard compound tyres to use, so this will be the right tyre for this strategical decision. He's going to have a lot of overtaking to do, but he will be liking that return of the fully fledged front downforce at the front of that Audi.
Yeah, and so with that downforce, he will have the chance to go and gather it back. But look at where he is now in season 13, down in 13th place. A lot of work to do to pull himself back into position.
30 seconds off the lead, 31 seconds now. Going to have a big old undercut on some of his main rivals. If he can make this strategy work, he's done a very good job. And if he does get the track position with this undercut, and then we have a late race safety car, he's going to be loving life as well. So still very, very possible that we see Kareem 17 at least inside the top 5 when we get to lap 66.
Yeah, and so that could be the big difference maker late on here in running. Razin Chai happy with where he is at the moment and holding well. I tell you someone who else is close, that guy Vince, as we see this close and close and close, and here comes the move into turn 1. Gillen just lets him have it, lifts slightly off and says, look, you can have the corner in the position. That guy Vince right now is 5th, and he's doing a brilliant job at making progress.
Motoring at the moment. Gillen, I think, has just taken the lead back from Razin there into turn number 4. So it is Alex Gillen from Razin Chai. GB a further 3 seconds back down the road. Then Lolanoba on still very, very fresh hard compound tyres. Just 5 laps on them for the reigning champion. And then Vince, who is on a similar strategy to his teammate Fimex, but has got a significant more amount of pace. He's just disposed of Meraki, who's just been a little bit off it pace-wise, but going about his business nicely in P6 on 24-lap-old medium tyres. He'll be into the pit lane fairly shortly, you would imagine. This battle royale in front continues to rumble on, but with the caveat that Gillen has got that 10-second penalty to serve at his final stop.
Ricky 03 is there and in the pits, and Alex Gillen realising that with those 10 seconds are going to put him around that guy Vince. Matty picks up 3 for warning then as they go through. Now, talk to us about how they've got less aerodynamics, so they're chucking it in maybe a little bit less out there at this point in time. I would look around at it here and ask the question, is track limits going to be slightly easier with the lack of downforce?
I would say it's a bit of a double-edged sword because, yes, you've got lack of downforce, so you are running lower cornering speeds, of course, but the cars are a little bit lively. So there can be the possibility that you do just make a little bit of a mistake. Yes, the game can be a bit lenient if you lift off and you go over the track limits. I think a circuit like this at Barcelona, the only real places we're going to be thinking about track limits are the final couple of corners. If we go to Austria, for example, I still expect track limits to be a massive factor.
Yep, and we will see here how you go out of the race here because, boy, look at that. Absolutely excited there, Scott.
Yeah, I love it. I think he's just had enough of the race. You can see it in his face. And I think he wanted a safety car, but not a full one today.
No, didn't get down far enough, or with enough gusto in my regard there for that one. But definitely doing the Spaniards proud there on a massive moment like that. And did my eyes deceive me there, T-Double? Was that a Sevilla shirt?
I think it was, or maybe an Athletic Club Bilbao shirt to the inside of the final corner. That's not in the rule book, and that wasn't in the script for Aston Chai. Now eyeball to eyeball as they cut the beam to start 38. Alex Gillen, maybe with a little bit more straight line speed, but lifts off slightly early. Happy to hand that one over. But that was a punchy move from Razin Chai. Big fan of that one into the final corner.
Yeah, we were just getting ourselves ready into rhythm, and he just turns around, gives him a right hook to the jaw and says, look, I'm not going to sit by and just have this one be easy, and we set it up. We got to go out there and be busy. Razin, I think, also has to give himself a lot of notice out there at this moment because of GB slowly clawing his way back.
Yeah, he's in the low 16s. Razin and Gillen at the moment in the mid to high 1-minute 16s. Looking at the pace of Kareem 17, he's just done a personal best of a 16.5. Still, though, 30.5 seconds off the lead, so not making too many inroads on the leaders as things stand. Fastest lap, actually, goes to Ryan 83, currently occupying position number 10, only 4 seconds behind his teammate Tim McMurdoch. And he's done a very good job so far, still with the medium tyres left to use.
Yeah, he's done well. He's got those 3 seconds, though, that he's got to bank on as Ricky 03 currently holds a bonus point for fastest lap on a 1:15.4. We'll be very happy out there that he has got that in the back pocket to go and work with. But this is where the race sets itself up, and so this is where they are trying to go and make that happen. Now, you may not see it, but they are using what we call S mode out there, which is the way that they can go out there and boost and go and get themselves through. And you'll see that on the wings, or you won't see that on the wings, but they are very much trying to push. There you can see it's a case that they are using it, but it is a graphical bug for us at the moment. So if you are watching over from EA, that's one for your changelog for your next update.
We would love to see the effects and the animations of the active aero. Unfortunately, though, we can't, because we had it in qualifying, didn't we? We saw it down the main straight, but for whatever reason, it's gone on holiday for the main race. Not 100% sure why, but we'll have to wait.
It's in Spain. It's having a siesta.
To be fair, that's a very decent shout.
So, at least for the moment, they are using that to their best of their abilities, and I would say they're in stealth mode with it, because even we can't see when they're using it, but they're using it quite a lot out there. Still, 2.1 seconds, the margin 2.2, back to GB, who is threatening out there in this one, and we are very much staring down the barrel here, T-Dub, with the penalty here for Alex Gillen of a brand new winner here at Barcelona.
Absolutely. GB, though, don't want to be taking lines like that through the final corner if you're trying to pick up your first race victory in Spain. Meraki into the pits to get shot of those medium tyres. 27 laps on the numbers for him. Kareem 7T still setting personal bests down in P11, but still very much only in the mid-16s and realistically saying the same lap time as the leaders.
Yep, so hard tyres on for Meraki, as this will bring him to the end of the race. 26 lap stint to bring him home and dry. GB having a great run in Spain. Is he in Benidorm?
Having a party. It's a party atmosphere in the Green Machine. This is the highest that Aston Martin is going to be all the time we see in 2026, believe you me, especially at the Spanish Grand Prix, considering, spoilers everybody, they were absolutely terrible in qualifying.
Yep. And so I would say qualifying is one thing, but these lean green machines are going to be absolutely charging in the hands of GB right now, trying to just work the hard tyres into a favour that gets this one as close as you possibly can. And you can see he looks a little bit frazzled right now in the cockpit here, that he's put a lot of hard work and effort in trying to chase this down, and he's stuck at that difficult situation at 2 seconds back where he's not making the dent and the inroad he wants to.
Not quite. Pushing very hard, sweating very hard. You can see by what looks like a slightly damp Aston Martin t-shirt there. Bit of a wobble as well over the curb through turn one, just taking a slightly too tight a line through the apex of turn one. But as we've reached a bit of a lull in proceedings at the moment, shall we, Jake, have a bit of a chat and a bit of a catch-up with the main man, Scott Taylor?
I think we need to. Scott, how have you been enjoying all of this right now as we head ourselves towards the final round of stops?
Yeah, it's been good. I've been jumping onto the drivers' POVs just to kind of see where we're at. Ben Daily update, minus 3.5 laps of fuel now, so he's gained back about 2.5 laps. Get 50% tyre wear, and it cannot get by Fimex or Fimex. It's quite strange to see him in that position. What I have noticed is everyone seems to be just far enough apart that we might not see a safety car this race. I know we've seen the virtual, but like a full-fledged safety car. We have had an intentional DNF that didn't lead to... Oh, nice little overtake there from Tom. Gets that done nicely. Yeah, all I can say is I think everyone expected 4 safety cars underfueled, and now they're panicking. Obviously, Gillen's messed up with the 10-second penalty. Very unlike him. He'll be raging about that. All I will say to everyone watching is call to action. Please follow the social media channels throughout the week, and you will get to see all of these clips and more. Get you straight back into the action. Guys, thank you very much. Enjoy the race.
Absolutely, and I'll just add on to that. Please do subscribe to us over on Creator Series YouTube as well, because we are on the road to 15,000 subscribers. We only need about 700 odd of you to go and make that happen. You can catch all of what happens on Creator Series by doing that, so by all means, please do subscribe and get yourself in with a little bit more. Nick Flies over that last lap has made the pass on Ryan L83. He's put himself up into 8th place in the Red Bull. Chance to talk Teams Championship, because for the moment, you walk into this opening round and you say, okay, it's Haas and McLaren who are the 2 teams on top, but I turn around at a 7th place Red Bull. They will absolutely be clawing back 12 points and then some here, and actually be thinking about championship lead heading to the Mad Ring.
Alpine as well, in a strong position, P5 and P6. I've been impressed with the pace that Fimex has had. Dakovic, we know how consistent and shrewd an operator he is. So consistent, always finds himself in and around the top 10, whether it's fighting for the podium or consistently just racking up the points. That's why he's a multiple Constructors champion with Aston Martin in GB68, let's not forget, in seasons gone by. So that Constructors battle going to be absolutely fascinating. Cream 17, by the way, still setting personal bests. Incredibly consistent. Last 8 laps, he hasn't gone faster than a 16.3. It hasn't been slower than a 16.5. In that ballpark of a tenth and a half every single lap after lap, lap after lap, really on the button.
Yeah, every lap being in a similar window. That's what we would call absolute perfect race spec and what we would call hitting flow state.
Absolutely. Looking really strong out there, Kareem. The problem is the pace of the leaders is equally strong. Razin Chai's just put in a personal best of a 1:16.3 as well. Tom 97 hasn't exactly had the best of races so far. Some say he chose Tom 97 because that's how many bottles that he's had in the Creator Series. Although this one wasn't necessarily his fault with the disconnection he had on the opening lap. And that basically left him not just on the back foot, but he was about 50 metres behind everybody else before we'd even started.
Well, it's not 10 green bottles, it's 97 race bottles, I think, hanging on the wall for him at this moment in time. He definitely wants to find a way to not deal with any more of that and keep himself up on the order, saying, look, I can chase this down. GB, though, I think is looking around, 22 laps to go. I think this is really frustrating for him. He's not yet in a window where he can put those tyres onto the end that he wants to. And it's in his benefit to hang out in case there is a battle between two drivers that does chuck out a safety car somewhere at a different point in time. He's not there. He's not getting it. And I think Alex Gillen has played the game quite nicely because he's not made a move on Razin Chai for 4, 5, 6 laps. He realises if he wants to get himself the result that he needs in this race of 4th, he's going to have to do a lot of work here to help build a margin.
And we need to remember the likes of Kareem and Meraki who've been into the pits recently. There's Matty D in the pits, yellow flag, safety car. There is your safety car. There is your opportunity to get shot of the penalty, Alex Gillen. And that will just bring everybody back together. And we're going to have a sprint to the finish. Tyres-wise, Razin Chai still has the mediums to use. Alex Gillen, yes, it's coming a time to serve his penalty, but he's still got to use the soft tyres. This is going to be 20 laps on a set of soft compound tyres for Gillen. This could backfire for him.
But we saw 20 laps at the start of the stint, and here's the difference, though, between start of the race and end of the race for 20 laps on the stint, T-Dub. A lot less fuel, less weight in the car, less lateral wear.
I just feel like that has come 5 laps too early. If it was 15 laps, yeah, sure, you'd be in a great position. But I think the drop-off, these other two guys that are with him, Razin Chai, GB68, they're both going to be on the mediums as we get the visual glitch going through the pit lane. Avert your eyes, everybody. Now he's going backwards. Now somebody's drifting out of the box. Absolutely ecstatic stuff, as we always see. Thank you very much, EA Sports. But he is going to be fighting with one hand tied behind his back, plus the 10-second penalty that's going to lose him maybe another spot to Lolanova as well, who will also be in the same boat, HMS soft compound tyres.
Yeah, it will make the world's worth of difference, and that safety car sits and waits for everyone to basically pick back up at this stage, and Meraki now going then into the pits by the looks of things at this stage, and just working to go through here. Lap 45 here of 66 and looking to go and clear on through. I think now would be best time of any to see what brought out the safety car out there that hopefully we'll see in the next couple of moments time with Matty there getting it all shades of wrong, bang into the wall, and then just decides, you know what, here Scott, I'm just going to make sure it's the full Monty.
Yeah, I think he just had enough. He was ready in the bag, nothing else to do. Intentional DNF safety car, which if we were going to have one, that was going to be the reason. I wonder who likes that and doesn't like that. Maybe I'll go and see some of the creators. That's definitely benefited someone. At least Gillen now has a chance to get back into it, right?
Absolutely. The big thing there, T-Dub, is he sacrifices the track position now, but it's not a Damocles over his head that he can't gain the gap back. Now he's just got to make 3 passes on circuit.
He can absolutely still win this Grand Prix, no doubt about it. He's got to try and be punchy, I think, in these early stages. I think for Lolly and Alex Gillen, you've got to use those soft compound tyres to your advantage. Yes, track position is slightly less important in these 26 cars compared to the 25 cars we've had because overtaking is much easier. Dirty air is slightly less apparent and slightly less debilitating for the cars behind. But we are going to get to a stage where the mediums have, I would say, not a massive, but also not an insignificant pace advantage over the softs by the time we get into sort of 63, 64, 65 and lap 66.
Yeah, those are the critical laps where you got to get it sorted. Razin Chai and GB on mediums, the next 5 cars behind, which includes Tiamat Marduk, all on soft tyres trying to get by. Meraki currently on a 6-lap-old set of hard tyres, couldn't basically get off of them and onto something else to get out to the end of this race. So he's going to be stuck in that position. And then you got Nick Fly's, Ryan L83 and Karim 70. They're all staring down medium tyres. Now, for Grid Jokes, if Checo Perez has no fans, then that means Grid Jokes is no longer on Earth. The world is against Checo Perez, and Grid Jokes is apparently against the world there as the #1 fan, by the looks of things, of Sergio Perez out there into world spec at this moment in time. And I actually will agree with him. I'll also be out there if things go wrong out there. Everyone's got to give Checo a little bit of love. Yeah, the last few years haven't been great for him, but for what he did, for a job that he did, I think everyone's got very short memories of just how good of a driver he is. Just ask Otmar Safnauer.
And I think he's been pretty darn decent this year as well. As someone who's a certified Valtteri Bottas fan, I think Perez has been pretty comfortably ahead of Valtteri Bottas. And I think he's maybe just shown a couple of people I've still got this. Yes, I've had a year out. Yes, I've been bullied effectively by Max Verstappen for a few years in that Red Bull car. But don't write me off just yet. This Cadillac gets competitive. I could do some serious damage.
But the other side of that here, T-Dub, is everyone gets bullied by Max Verstappen. Everyone who has ever jumped in a car with him has been bullied by Max Verstappen.
He was vindicated almost immediately by the fact that Liam Lawson's 2 races were absolutely terrible. And I'm glad to see that Lawson is now sort of recovering, is doing really well once again in qualifying in that Racing Bull car. And Yuki Tsunoda got the car for the whole year. Probably wishes he stayed in the Racing Bull for the whole year, let's be honest, because it wasn't the most enjoyable season and has potentially ended his F1 career.
Well, I'm sure he'll have a massive fan following if he goes back to, say, something like Super Formula, for example. I think he'd be a huge fan out there, and a lot will go through. Underneath this safety car, everyone now clawing their way back. And so, di questo passo arriveremo alle calende grecce for Ricky 03. Answers on a postcard.
Not a clue what that means. Hopefully someone can tell me. I have to say, I was very impressed with your pronunciation there. Have you been working around your Italian accent, Jake, and your Italian?
Well, I did honeymoon in Italy, so...
Well, I mean, no time like the present to learn it then, for that special occasion that I'm sure was a very enjoyable time.
Yeah, we're an international group here over at Creator Series, so we will appeal to all demographics out there as they look to go and really charge for it. But Razin Chai, currently your leader, GB second, and then Lolinoba then in third. Possibly best place of everyone to go out there and attack in the Cadillac. So he's third in this one. Safety car then is in this lap. So that Mercedes AMG is going to pull away, leaves the Red Bull in charge of the field, and Razin has the responsibility of finding the best place to go, which I would argue, if you can give it enough of a gap, is actually coming out of Bank Sabadell. But I think that safety car is not going quick enough for that to be the best place. So you're going to have to probably fight out the penultimate corner of Europe car.
Yeah, just try and catch your rivals unawares, maybe punch it when they're not expecting. The one driver I've got my eyes locked on, though, Tiamat Marduk. Free hit here, second opportunity to try and challenge for something in this race. He's going to be punchy.
He is, and he'll be happy on his fuel marks. And there goes Razin Chai, almost on cue of the only place he could really attack and go for it. Green flag back in the air, lovely jump. And now Lolly's got himself an immediate chance to leapfrog here, as it's going to be a swarm around GB off this restart. Gillen jumping down the inside, moves himself up into third.
Easy as you like. There was a wobble for GB coming out of the penultimate corner, put him on the back foot immediately as Cream 17 getting stuck in with Ryan Lady 3 as well. Sapso very wide through turn 3, taking a trip off the road just behind the second Haas of map 212, but Razin still out in front, reigning champion to P2 ahead of Gillen. Meraki with a wobble as well, and Cream does find a way past Ryan.
Oh, that's deep. That's very deep from Nick Flies. And so everybody here in the mid-pack suddenly realizes we're fighting hard for points out there, and as many as we can get our hands on. Concept 7 and Tom 97 right now. Who's got the best 7 in the arsenal? It's Tom 97 back up into 14th place and really working hard for it. Lolanoba into second, Razin Chai leading, but Razin will take pain now. His gain is going to come later on in this race where he tries to gather it back up. Safso right now in the final points paying position here as that guy Vince is suddenly going to get on the noisy pedal and desperately needs away by GB now.
This could be a difficult couple of laps for GB. Medium tyres, he's on soft tyres for pretty much everybody around. And going to be burning ERS, will not want to fall behind the Alpine. Former teammate dives to the inside of turn number 1. Little bit of contact, just enough space there. Vince eventually having to back out of that one. Otherwise, he was clattering into the side pod of the Aston Martin.
That guy Vince then is just knowing that he needs that pass and he'll get it out of 3 into 4 and says, yoink, I'll have it. And now I've got to really work because I'm 8/10 off of Alex Gillen. And that guy Vince, or I would say Vince Gyökeres, as he did in the intro, now really looking to try and push.
Look at Tim Marnik, superb move around the outside of 5, now to the outside of 7. GB offline, tries to cut back, little bit of ERS, and that is straight out of the back catalogue of Tim Marnik overtaking excellence.
Yeah, Tim Marnik set it up, tried it on the outside, then went, nope, not going to get it, going to have to do some more. And now as even more troubles on the outside goes Fimex, trying to get it done on the outside of Lekaitsa, not going to work. Up into Bank Sabadell. Now you're trying to set it up here. Meraki, who has been a little bit lost in the doldrums here, now on those older hard tyres, basically getting swamped as here comes Lolly going for the race lead. Razin Chai has nothing really for this then. Does Lolanoba commit? Defensive line taken here by Razin Chai. Outside line it searches, but it's going to be a case of I'm going to cut you back. Look at it through 2. Cut back again, look at it on the outside of 3. Oh my goodness, the contact there, trying to push a way through. Suddenly Alex Gillen has got a head of steam and he can't find a way.
This could get spicy, everybody. Renewing the spoils. Razin versus Lolly round 2. And so far, Razin doing a good job to hold on. Lolly, incredibly defensive into turn number 5. Now lights up the rear tyres. Alex Gillen will be smelling blood. Lolanoba using a little bit of battery as well. Through they fly. 5 up towards 6, 7 and 8. Razin Chai, Lolanoba, Alex Gillen.
Yeah, those 3 now realising they are in a big scrap. And if they focus on it, they can be away from that guy Vince, and they can really put themselves in a position where it's just them that they have to focus on with. This is what this race is all about. Giving yourself time, giving yourself moments that says, right, I am going to make this as easy as I possibly can. Vince dangling it around a second here at the end of lap 50. This is where Lolanoba's got to figure out, am I going to make this move now, or does Alex Gillen have a way to go and get this pass done on me? Now working here once more to turn 1, which has been the big key place to get it sorted, and it's such an interesting braking zone, downhill as you work through to a corner that is surprisingly quicker than what it is.
Another place picked up for Cream 17 to P7, pushing Fimex down the spot. Lolanoba defensive into turn 4. Gillen didn't want to go the long way round. Tries to duck back underneath through turn 4 to be the outside for turn number 5. Boxed in a little bit behind the Red Bull of Razin Chai. Tries to keep his foot in it, pinned it around the outside, still eyeball to eyeball through 6, which is flat out. Razin recharging, going to bolt the pair of them inside of 7. Oh, Alex Gillen giving the cold shoulder, just about keeps it pointing in the right direction over the sausage curb. But a little bit of fireworks already starting to fly between the top 3.
I think Lolanoba's laundry's out. He just hung Alex Gillen on the line, and there wasn't much you could say. Now they're going to start thinking about it. This is Fimex trying to fight through against Karim, trying to get one back on him. So Karim 70 here, trying to make the best of a bad situation for this second round of the race, and he realizes and understands a DNF at Monaco. He wants a way to get that Audi back into position, and boy, Audi, does he want to try and get that place up and start getting some progress on this season. No moves then, and I think you're going to have to temper expectation and opportunity here. I think you're going to have to work to where the moves are. Nick flies through on Fimex now.
Team at Marduk to P4 as well. Fastest final sector. It's a constant barrage being thrown at Raz and Chai and those mediums with the soft shot runners behind to the inside of 4 again. The reigning champion spying the smallest of opportunities, the smallest of gaps to slide a Cadillac alongside the Season 5 champion. Still side by side down the hill into turn 5. Alex Gillen desperately trying to find the smallest of footholds, to find a stranglehold in the battle. Opportunistic as ever to the inside of 7. Lolanoba finds himself mugged off by the former 2-time champ.
Well, if you're going to try and make a move like that, you're going to have to find the gap. And now Alex Gillen, I think, just sits back and realises, look, I'm going to have to scrap more because Tiamat Marduk's there. Through on that guy, Vince. GB back into the party in 6th place. You're adding more cooks to the kitchen, and too many cooks will spoil this broth. Again, Razin Shai has just been orchestrating this from the front. The longer they scrap like this on the soft tyres, the more they wear them. And the medium tyres are going to really start hitting a stride in the final 10 laps of this race. No move offered there against Razin Shai at 1. They're going to prefer the outside of 3 into 4 as the place to get it done. And Gillen here with a bit of a gap, I think is going to use this as half a recharge lap as GB looking to get into the mirrors to get moves. Tiamat Marduk, no chance on Lolly.
Anyone inside the top 7 for me could win this race. Tiamat Marduk punchy again, spots the gap to the inside of turn 5, given the big old squeeze by the reigning champion. Both of them light up the rear tyres lively with the loud pedal, but down the hill through 6 into the turn 7-8 chicane. Tiamat Marduk is now on the podium. Hold that thought because Lolanoba, good drive out of 8, tried it maybe into turn 9.
So Lolanoba back to 4th. Tiamat Marduk on the charge, and now for the lead. There goes Gillen to the inside, picking it up. Lovely, nice, neat angle by Razin Shai, trying to open up Bank Sabadell at turn 12. But for the moment, I think he realizes here he's now got to set himself up for the big old straight opportunity if he wants to go and get it sorted, moving himself into play to say, right, I'm going to be in mode. I'm going to start chasing this back. Tiamat Marduk there waiting with his old adage and rival there just behind. And for the moment, Razin Shai trying to chuck it. But again, Gillen works the Oracle again on the outside. And he almost wants to now at turn 3. Basically go half a car width wide. Really force drivers to go wide and focus for it. Razin Shai with better drive out of 3 gets the pass.
8 cars in the lead scrap with just over 10 laps to go. Injected, I'm loving this one onto the grass. Goes Kareem to the inside of turn 5. Bit of a bump and run as he barges his way past GB68. It's a bank raid down the hill through turn 6. Trying to maybe get it to the inside of Vince as well. Kareem 17, box office battling in Barcelona. Going to be the outside of turn 9. And Kareem 17 dampened earlier on by front wing damage. Not bogged down by that as he throws the move to the inside of Vince.
Well, this is a case of seeing Matador and its bullhorns right now for Karim 70. He is just goring his way through the field, and GB looks around at that guy Vince and goes, come on, we need to settle, get ourselves into line with the likes of Nick Flies on the back as well. He's going to offer some great support for Razin Shai if he can get himself up there. Tiamat Marduk sat now with his old rival, Alex Gillen, just in front, and so now they're all going to be together, and suddenly it's 4 and 4, these groups now as they work into turn 1. Look at it, 2 by 2 as they work through Karim and Vince and Nick Flies, and GB now back to 8.
Nick Flies, I have to say, outstanding performance so far. He could still very much do something in this race. 4 wide almost again. Kareem all over the road. Has to defend. It's Datka Vince, is it? No, it's Nick Flies out of absolutely nowhere. All the way around the outside of Vince, around the outside of Kareem 17. The charging bull up to P5.
Brilliant stuff. Nick Flies is on an absolute tear of this field, and now he's got to work to try and get that gap down to 1 second to Lolanoba to give himself some help out there at the front. Gillen again going for this race lead. Going to get the move. Here comes Lolly back down the inside there. Contact with Tiamat Marduk. He's going to get 1. He's going to potentially get 2 on the outside of Bank Sabadell, but he's on the outside for the next 3 corners, and it's Razin Shai who suddenly has to try and find his line. Does so, but at the call of 3.5 to 4 tenths of a second, he's going to have to work on the straight now. Here comes Ben again.
This quartet have to be smart. They could have this wrapped up because there's now 2 seconds back down the road. That secondary chasing group. Tia McMardock dangles the nose to the inside of Lolinover. Little bit of contact once again, turns to the outside of 2. Not quite far enough alongside as Kareem back through on Nick Flies. But this almighty scrap in the secondary chasing peloton may have cost these guys a chance at the podium.
Very much so. And that is going to absolutely hurt. Oh, massive kicker tail there for Ben. Oh, trouble. Oh, my goodness, it's Ben and Lolinova. Both off, both out of contention. Suddenly it's Gillen versus Razin. There's more contact on the exit there. Poor rejoin by Ben.
Pinter, as they both get back on the road, I'm sure we'll have a look at that controversial moment between the former two-time champ and the reigning champ, who were side by side in the battle for third place through turns 4 and must have come to blows down the hill into turn number 5. It is an exclusive battle of 2. Lord Gillen now versus Razin Chai for this race win with 10 to go.
So, that's made life a lot easier here. Alex Gillen, who's trying to fight back from a 10-second penalty. Razin Chai, who has been the couch commander all day long, and a battle of tyre versus tyre out there. Lovely helicopter shot along the main straight. Does Razin Chai go for the move now, or does he sit to wait? He'll go the long way trying to get it sorted. Little bit of tyre to tyre. Gillen keeps his foot in and says, I've got time to battle, as Karim now up to third. Nick Flies in 4th place. This is a bumper crop day for the Red Bulls.
Unreal stuff. Kareem still holding P3 now, back ahead of Nick Flies. I said these guys may have cost themselves a shot on the podium. Scratch that with the drama unfolding between Ben and Lodano, but almighty scrap, 6 cars in there. Vince to the inside, enter Tom 97, who's been so out in the woods in this race so far, lighting up the rear tyres as Vince. Through you go, Tom 97, after being last in the early stages, now almost up into the top 5, and Ryan 83, despite having the penalty, sliced past Vince too.
How on earth is Tom 97 6th?
I have absolutely no idea, but it is a message to everybody. Stay headstrong. Do not give up in these races because you never know what could unfold. Datkovic's back past Ryan 83, who's on the medium tyres, I believe, on the outside, dropping back behind the Alpine car. 2.6 seconds the gap. I think if it had stayed as a quartet out in front, there was a chance, the smallest crumb of chance, that these guys could have closed back up to the leaders. I think Razin and Gillen will be smart here, though.
Yeah, they're going to need to be on this front stretch here, try and work out where's the smart money on this move. And Nick Flies going to that inside line again. Oh, he gets a massive hit from behind from GB. He's going to push him through here at 2 into 3, and he's going to get the pass. GB tries to pick a pocket and then gets front to rear tyre contact, trying to prise it open. Tom's going to love this in terms of where he goes. Massive switch of the beams, trying to work into turn 4 at Repsol. Trying to work it down on the inside, and now it's going to be on the wrong side of turn 5 to try and get it sorted. More tyre contact, and he's doing so on a set of hards out there to the end of this race. So he's got a lot more tyre to go and work with, even though it's not the quickest out there. Again on the outside. Now they're going to be too wide to Kamsa, which is a death knell sentence. Oh, they're on the outside of Kamsa. Oh, my God.
Right, with a second penalty, 6 seconds now. That'll throw him outside of the top 10. Through to the inside now. He's already disposed of the Aston Martin. Tries it on the Audi. Gets it a little bit wrong. Lights up the rear tyres. Maybe in a bit of frustration, trying to plant the loud pedal. Again, contact. This time with the Aston Martin of GB. Little bit messy there from Tom 97. His attempts to get past the Audi.
Yeah, now it's going to be a case of can you go and find that pass? This is where Tom 97 sets out there as they try and work through then on this group, and they've been setting through. This is what happened, though, the big moment that set it into play here, Scott.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it was meant by Ben, but definitely his fault. Sorry, the stream's a bit laggy there. Basically, he just tries to swipe, go to the other side, go down the inside, but it doesn't look like their car's touched, but there's obviously been a bit of network or something, and Lolly fans are not happy.
No, I would say there, T-Dub, that's another case of Old Man Daly.
Yeah, it looked like both of them just moved at exactly the same time. Ben was the car behind, and I think it did look like he just ran into the back of Lolanova. Completely unintentional, of course, but with severe consequences, more so for the reigning champion, who's now down in last. Ben can still pick up a decent whack of points. You could just see the flash of Papaya in the background there. P11 for the Australian ace as it stands.
Yep, he's got a lot to do to get back up. Ricky O3's next for him. There goes Ryan with those 6 seconds, and that'll be another car that Ben will go by, so he's technically 10th at the moment, looking for 9th, and Ryan's just got to try and get himself up there as soon as he can. We are in the crunch now as we head to lap 60 of 66, which will be 7 laps to go here in this race, and right now, it's win and podium and literally nothing else.
Mick Flies, how are your nerves here? P3 for the second Red Bull car. Driver of the day so far. Can he hold on to it? Kareem doesn't want it to the inside of turn number 1. Got to be careful. GB still in the thick of the battle. Tom 97, Ryan 83, Dak Govins as well in this almighty scrap for the final spot on the podium. And we still have the lead battle as well between Razin and Gillen.
We absolutely do. Through turn 4 then, you can see Karim just trying to find his angle, give himself as much as he can. TMF Marduk through on Ricky 03. Grid Jokes through on Concept 7. Ricky 03 straight back at TMF Marduk. But for GB 68, he realises here that he has just got to try and set himself up, find a way to just jump one than the other. And he knows that those medium tyres, he's just got to set them up and say, go for it. Now, speaking of going for it, Gillen round the outside of Razin Shai, back to the front.
Really, really tight there, hanging it around the outside. The sinews in his arm, you'd imagine, as he tried to cling onto that to the outside of turn 10, taking the lead back from Razin, but it's all not said and done. Second time Razin to the inside of the final corner. This time gets a little bit up on the curb and the grass at the apex of the final corner.
Wow, they are really starting to chuck haymakers now. And this is where Razin Shai has got to be clever about making this move. Again, goes to the outside. Can't quite get there. This is like Rossi and Lorenzo stuff from 2009.
Creator Series is back, everybody. Prime Creator Series on your screen. Battle for the lead continuing well and truly. Gloves off. Razin spots the gap to the inside. Gillen gives him the space, hangs it to the outside of turn number 4. Raz will have the inside for turn 5, unless he tries the switch, that we've seen a number of drivers do. The problem is you get the big old squeeze as you go to the apex.
Yeah, and you really need to find a way to cover off every mode, and there's not a place where everything can be covered out there, and Razin Shai knows it. Tom 97 fighting GB now for a top 5, then climbing up to Kamsa and trying to go the long way around at Kamsa isn't going to work. Now again, it's side by side for your lead here. They've decided, right, this is when we're going to go for it. Once more, it's side by side where Razin Shai can't hold the line at Bank Sabadell.
Got to be careful. They've lost the second to Kareem 70 on this lap alone. Don't battle too hard, because the former champion could be back up on your haunches. Yes, the gap's still 3.5 seconds. Got to be careful of that group behind. You are all but guaranteed first and second in this race.
Yeah, that's there, so long as you don't do anything silly. They've lost a second on that last lap. There's the move from Razin Shai. Back to the race lead then as he gets the pass sorted. Behind that, though, here comes that guy Vince back on Tom 97, trying to get it done. Tom gets the inside, though, at 3. Tries to pin it. Soft versus hard tyre. Hard tyre wins out then, ultimately, as they work on him. But there's the drive off the exit with the battery that helps for that guy Vince. He now holds himself to that 6th place and says, oh yeah, that's mine. I'm happy with that, as he holds himself steady and to account here in the late stages. Alex Gillen realising this isn't just an if move. I think, Tom, it's a when move.
Yeah, you've got to try and be smart here now. We know, we've seen the games that have been played so far. How's the battery games going to be working? It used to be DRS games. Now it's ERS games. These guys are going to be playing in the final 5 tours of this Spanish Grand Prix. Kareem 70, again, quicker on this lap so far. Took nearly half a second out of Gillen through the middle sector.
So, now it's 3 seconds, and Karim and Nick realise they've got hope, and it relies on these two battling like there's no tomorrow to get themselves in onto it. And that's why this group behind is starting to fragment slightly, because they're understanding, look, if we play nice, we've got a shot of victory here. And again, Tom 97 sees that guy Vince there, and they are going to be starting to hit limits of tyre life. If you're on softs, on mediums and hards, you're okay, and you're just trying to get as much usable tyre wear as possible late.
Razin Shai extending his legs out front. He is one of the drivers on the mediums. Gillen on the softs, and suddenly 9/10 of a second the margin. A second the margin between the two leaders. Are the tables just starting to turn? Where's that momentum swing now in the lead battle?
Well, back to 7/10 with the way that the battery's gone and worked with. So that looks like more to me a mistake from Alex Gillen, as now it's setting itself up. This is back with Adam Sanson. This for 10th with Tiamat Marduk. Ricky 03 here. You've also got Fimax then into this one. Oh, that's almost contact there between Nick Flies and GB. This is going to get very chipper late.
Gillen admitting that he thinks this is going to be a tricky one to win with the tyre advantage that Razin currently holds on to. Adam Sanderson still battling away with Tiamat Marduk, two former teammates neck and neck in the final sector in the battle for the final spot inside the top 10. Tiamat Marduk still holds on, does have some front wing damage sustained in the collision between himself and Lolanoba, but just trying to hang on to as many points as he possibly can.
Here we go. There's the move to the right, and I'm sure that Adam Sanderson's going to say, look, I want it, but he's not got enough on the straighten because he lifted off. There goes Ricky, chucking it back down the inside. Easy stuff there on the pass and says, look, there's more where that came from. GB, bullies his way to the inside and gets by Nick Flies, who's not going to sit down lightly, chucks it back and says, no, I'll bully you back.
Returns the favour, blow for blow, punch for punch. I think GB spooked Nick Flies there, almost off the road through turn 4. GB then said, well, if you're going to do that, I'll just file on through, lad. And then returning the favour is now to the inside of turn 9. That is brave. It's almost brazen. A little bit of contact at the apex. But that is supreme from GB68. What confidence he's got.
Absolutely brutal there on the pass. GB up to 4th place on those medium tyres and really trying to set it up for something now as you got Fimex there still into position, but look out for the lead once more because that gap is down to 1/4 of a second. Gillen took a lap maybe to cool the tyres off, now going back then to be aggressive to sit on the rear of Razin Chai. This is looking like a last lap showdown between these two.
2 to go. What has Gillen got left in the tank? How much rubber has he got left on the rims of those red striped soft compound tyres? Has he got an advantage? Will he have an overlap that he could potentially try on Razin? Or has he got it all calm and collected out front for the Red Bull team? Still the scrap going on. GB defending from Tom 97. Nick Flies just fading a little bit in the final stages of this Grand Prix, trying to hold on to places. Tom to the inside of turn 5. Nick Flies incredibly brave under braking, chucks it round the outside, but comes up short.
It's not going to get there, and now the question's going to be here, Tom. Final stages, what have you got left? Because it's all about posturing, it's all about placement, and Nick's going the wrong way.
And for the leaders, this will all be about battery now. Gillen closing up to the rear of Razin Chai. It'll be an ERS race on this final lap of the Grand Prix. 2/10 per second through the long turn 12, the endlessly long turn 12. The front left screaming for a bit of mercy. 3/10 as they come around the penultimate corner.
3.5, and now 1 lap left. Alex Gillen, what do you have left at your disposal to go and get this done? Razin Chai leads this last lap. He has led this from pole, but now he knows that Alex Gillen wants it, and it's not going to be at turn 1. If he's got enough tyre, it's turn 4. That's the big one. GB and Tom scrapping it out for 4th position as they fall side by side. GB sits himself back in and says, I want a little bit more. Outside line, tries Alex Gillen, the long way, hard travelled to try and get it done. Does he have a lunge at 5? Yes, he will, and he's going to get there to the inside of Razin Chai. Now he's got to try and build some gap to get away because there's no guarantees. He's got it sorted, heading towards the likes of Lakaitsa at turn 10. Up then to the right, a lead late for Meraki's going to cost him time and places, but now's the chance for Razin to try and give him one last go back. Lunge down the inside. Got to give him room. No room. No room. Razin Chai is turned around. Karim will get himself up to 2nd. Oh, my goodness me. Alex Gillen was never going to sit back. It's only him and Ben who have won here. And that, from the King of Spain, is something that says, I am brutal in every sense of the word.
Once, twice, and thrice. It's a hat-trick of Spanish Grand Prix for Alex Gillen. Karim does get that 2nd place by 2/10. Tom 97, what a recovery job to finish P4 ahead of GB. Nick Flies, hats off. Incredible effort from you, sir. Vince Meraki, and then the 2 McLarens of Ryan and Tiamat Marduk, your top 10, followed by the Ferraris. Adam Sanderson, Fimex at one stage was in the top 5. Grid Jokes Chappers, Concept 7. Matt 212 languishing 18th. And the reigning champion will come home a disappointing 19th.
Oh dear, Lolinoba, that was not what the doctor ordered, and so That is going to be a stutter step that you do not want to get yourself into and involved. And now where the bonus points lie are going to be really, really important as they set. So we're just going to catch this replay first, Scott, of just how much of a move it was. That's fair from Alex Gillen in my book. He's pinched, but ultimately it's always a dive from Razin Chai.
Yeah, he went for that last stage. Honestly, Razin doesn't look that upset about it. I think he just knew that was the moment. If he'd have taken Gillen out, that would have been a very spicy ending. But yeah, there you go.
I think he had to get to his front tyre if he wanted to command the space. He just didn't hit him in the right place, as was said once at a Spanish Grand Prix in 1997. So ultimately tough. So fastest lap goes the way of Lolinoba. Driver of the day is Nick Flies. He'll be very happy with that. Most overtakes goes to Tom 97. And guess what? Chapper's there, T-Dub. Gets the cleanest driver award and gets a point for his troubles today.
Didn't see too much of Chappers down in P16, but does, after finishing outside the point-paying positions, pick himself up a point for his troubles. What a race that was, though. Said it with about 10 to go. Creator Series is back, everybody. If there are any questions about how these new regs are going to change the dynamic of Creator Series, I think we've just seen it's doing it for the better.
Absolutely, we have. Scott, we're into post-race. What an incredible run we've had today.
Yeah, look, I was afraid we were just going to talk about battery all night, but that was banging. That was actually great. That was great. Even when people like Ben sort of messed up and took himself out of the fight, we still had more drivers to keep going on a fight. First 15, 20 minutes, okay, maybe a bit slow. Everyone sort of kind of figuring it all out. But see, when they figured it out, that was awesome. Right, Jake?
Yeah, it absolutely was. This was all about who was able to mastermind that safety car period and give themselves something to fight with. This was one where there were two big moments that changed the race. Tiamat Marduk and Lolinoba, and then secondly, as far as that sets, how Alex Gillen looked to push himself into position. And I think, Scott, you've got him ready and waiting right now.
But let's get Mr. Gillen, the Gillenator himself, who was probably going to win that race at the end, but Razin definitely just decided things at that last lap, didn't he? Now, what has been going through your head tonight, Alex?
What hasn't been going through my head tonight, Scott?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. What a race. What I hope
Mate,
that
right?
looked as good as it did from your point of view. Because
Yes.
there was so much action. Me giving my 10-second time penalty. On the worst tyres at the end there, it was looking like it was going to be GG's. A couple of laps on the end, he went for it to see if he'd get me out of overtake range. Didn't quite manage it. That ultimately put him a little bit on the back foot for battery, and that's what just allowed me to squeak through. But the amount of times we were side by side, really breaking late, pushing each other hard, and we kept it clean. Obviously, a bit of an incident on the final lap there. I honestly don't begrudge him for going for it. It's the last lap. It's the last braking zone. He's going for the win. Quite frankly, he was probably the more deserving winner today. He drove fantastically, great pace. So I don't begrudge him for going for it. But oh my God, I can't believe I just won that race. What a race.
It was banging. It was banging. Yes, the safety car went your way a little tiny bit with the 10-second penalty, but like, I don't care about that. That was awesome. You deserved that. You fought for that the entire way. A couple of things I want to mention. One, you never get a drive-through penalty. What happened there? Not drive-through, sorry, 10 seconds. Speaking of the pit.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So first of all, yeah, you could say a bit lucky with safety car, but this is Creator Series. How could we not have safety cars? So I was like, it's all good. We'll wait for the safety car. We'll take it then. So that wasn't really a biggie. I dropped down to P4 though, of course, so it certainly did hurt me still. But yeah, in terms of how I got it, it's actually kind of the new regs. Basically, my pit limiter button is the same button as my increase ERS mode button. Oh. So into the pit lane, I was in non-ERS mode and losing time because I wasn't using any battery as I approached the pit line. So turned my battery up. Having done that, put the pit limiter on. Then panicked with the pit limiter on, so turned it off again, accelerated, and then because all that was happening, lost slightly track where I was and just ended up speeding. So yeah, a bit of a weird, but I probably need to change my button mapping a little bit with these regs because yeah, I don't want to be on non-deployment into a long pit lane because that was costing me some time.
Yeah, I love it. Right, second question I've got for you. In previous games, we would have seen a lot of overtaking going into turn 1, but what I've really noticed during that was like turn sort of 3, 4, the difference in pace some of the laps was crazy, right? Is that where you sort of realised that's your overtaking bit?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. It's so weird, isn't it? Previously with DRS down the main straight, that was where most of the overtakes happened. And there was, I mean, I'm sure there was a few, but there was barely any at all today.
It was weird.
Razin had lower wings than me, it seemed. He was definitely a bit quicker in a straight, so I couldn't overtake Razin down the straight. He was able to overtake me because of the wing difference. But I think like Lolly and Ben had the same wings as me, it seemed. Certainly same straight line speed, and we weren't able to really. I mean, like if someone else ran out of battery, sure, but that requires mismanagement, really. So yeah, it was definitely better to save it up into turn 4, I think it is, isn't it? Into turn 4. Or
I was getting lost. I couldn't
it's all good. Or the straight line mode in the the back straight in the middle of the lap, because that was a massive harvest opportunity there. I was lifting for pretty much half that straight just to try and recharge as much as possible to make sure I didn't run out. But obviously that provided opportunities. So there was a couple of times I got Raz in there because I just decided, okay, let's try burn some. But again, that's earned because you've got to then recharge more both after that and before that to make sure you don't completely run out of battery. So I love that. I know not everyone loves the 2026 regs, but that showed how they can be good because that was a proper race at Barcelona as well.
Yes, right. You have to say that. Look, maybe driving it does feel a bit weird, but see, like me watching that, I wasn't thinking about battery much at all. It actually felt great. It was just a great race. You've kind of answered quickly my final question, but just give us now that you've done a full, I'm sure you've done other races in your streams, but you've now done a full 100% race at a track where battery management is quite critical. You're enjoying this game, yeah?
Personally, yeah. Obviously, you're right. It was very different to Monaco, where battery management was almost non-existent. So, yeah, I felt like my battery management was pretty good in the pack. I didn't feel like anyone had stinkers, though, other than GB on the safety car restart, where he got split boost done, I understand. So that was a bit of a whoopsie. But other than that, I felt like there was no real times where, like, someone was entering the back straight with, like, no battery. And, there's little differences, of course, but nothing major. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. And I think it's really, really tactical. And I'm excited to see what happens in future races.
Yeah, me too. Right, I look forward to seeing your clip book. Ben and Lolly had a moment. Lolly fans not happy. Loving it.
I'm also very excited to look at that,
as usual, mate. I love it. Right, go enjoy your night. Thanks again. Always a pleasure to speak to you. Well done, mate. Congratulations.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for the commentary. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right. Let's do it. Kareem, let's see. Does he have sunglasses on today, or is he not feeling cool enough? We're going to see the eyes. Let's see. Let's figure it out. Oh, there he is. Hello. Hi. Okay. Now, I saw you smacking your wheel at a particular moment in the race because you were raging because something happened. I think it was with Sandy. And now look at you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Honestly, very tough race.
Yeah.
Few mistakes from me, few setbacks, but the final stint, I just had to go for it. And that's what I did.
Mate, congratulations! Like, definitely, you recovered. You recovered this very well from qualifying when you got the most bogus 5-place grid penalty. Did you feel any touch? Because I looked back on it, like Miraka did not touch you on that screen.
I might have felt a little touch, but even if I didn't, I was more worried about not giving him yellows than getting out of the way. I also thought he was closer than he was, so that was just a bit of a blunder from me.
Yeah, unfortunate. Right, talk me through it. Go on, give me a quick rundown of the race. Obviously, you had a little moment with Sandy, but that was after you'd been put into a situation you probably weren't meaning to, right? Because you had to, get damage, right? I forget. So much happened.
Yeah, so I got damage from that incident.
Right, yes, correct.
It was really sad as well because I was the only one going for a big undercut, and then I was going to do another big undercut to force my track position. But yeah, I had a bit of oversteer. And I just gave Adam a little kiss, and his car went, and I got damaged. So just a bit of contact model there. And from there, I still technically undercut Alex and Razin, but I lost time with damage. And then the virtual safety car came out, so I was like, okay, fix my wing. It ended right as I came in the pits.
Yeah, so that's what I remember, yes.
And then the full safety car came out in the middle of my hard stint. So I had
better. Yeah,
I had no choice but to box for mediums, but from that point, I was like, okay, I'm like P11. I just need to get every position I can. It got very scrappy. I need to watch back some moves.
Yes.
I did kind of.
Nick was in the middle of it all.
Yeah, bro. This guy was in the Red Bull.
Right?
I was willing him on. I was contemplating defending for the podium. But yeah, he was amazing. We were kind of working together a little bit in the train. But yeah, in the end, I think I cost us to the top two, but also Lolly and Ben cost the train.
Mate.
So Yeah, and then
Spicy.
Razin just getting turned in on, I think,
I don't
at
know.
the end.
I still don't know why Razin done it at the end there, to be honest. This is like the biggest Hail Mary. But hey, like, you've got to be in the right position to get things to go your way, right? Whether it's a safety car, whether it's someone in front of you crashing, like, you still need to be in that right spot to get the advantage. And you did. So actually banging. Loved it. The highlights of this race will be awesome. You'll have some good stuff to watch. You were also part of some awesome battling. Was it with GB and I think it was Tom97? Like the four of you at one point were just going absolutely crazy. I won't lie.
Yeah. A lot more eventful than the last race. Let's just say that.
Oh yeah, you didn't make it very far, but that's typical. As I've said, you're very all or nothing. You're either going to probably win that race or something's going to happen. That's
yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head.
You got it, mate. Hey, I love it. Well done, though. You deserved it. You were in the right place at the right time. Go have a great week. We'll see you next week, hopefully. Is it Matt or when's round 3? I should know this. I'm presenting the
I
show.
think it is next
I should
week.
know this. Nice, Mad Ring. Yes. Can't wait for that. That's going to be crazy. So enjoy that.
Yeah, that's going to be some carnage. But I'll see you guys next week, I guess.
Love it. Take care of yourself, mate. Well done. Congratulations.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Who else we got? Mr. Razin. Let's do it. Razin. My God, you went for that at the end. You just decided, no, I'm just going to see if Gillen can survive this. And unfortunately, he did. I was rooting for you, mate. Gillen in the bin.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good little battle with Alex all race, to be honest.
Yes.
I was a bit surprised he actually got me just because I mismanaged my left and coast in turn 1 just slightly. That's why I run out. But no, I mean, he knew I was going for that move. I think he would have done the same last lap. You know, he's only last braking zone. But yeah, I broke it down a little bit. I mean, to be fair, I was going to hit regardless. So if it was going to be a push to pass move, I was always going to let him back through because we don't like to race like that here. But you know, potentially he might have turned it on me. I've just broken down. You know, that's why I actually spun. But yeah, regardless, it was a good race.
You wish. No, it was actually banging. It was what I was saying to Alex when we were talking to him. It was, I wasn't thinking about battery. I wasn't thinking about any of that stuff. I just had great racing to watch from all of yous. In the end, obviously, just you and Gillen, because Ben absolutely destroyed Lolly. But honestly, incredible. Like, talk me through it. Obviously, you nailed it on pole. What was that? Like, multiple tenths you were in lead. Absolutely nailed that qualifying. Was this one of your good tracks, or like talk me through like how this event went?
I don't think it's like one of my strongest tracks at all. I just think it comes on the battery management, right? And you'll see that many of the tracks, unfortunately. I didn't do too many laps, to be honest, with prep. Like, obviously, we did some with the boys on Thursday because that was busy yesterday. And today just pretty much jumped on, just did a few warm-ups. But yeah, once you learn the battery management, that's the main thing. And you learn deployment to get pole. So yeah, I was a bit cheeky then, did an eager retirement, 5 minutes left of the session, but I thought, why not?
Yes, I love that. All right, so yeah, basically just battery management, you figured that out, and that's just you comfortable now with that. Okay, love it. Talking about into you've probably not seen what happened yet, but that was spicy. That was great fun. You kind of just seemed to stay out of trouble until you like went for it in the end, right? I'm thinking back.
It worked out well, really. I mean, there wasn't any issues on my side.
Oh, yeah.
I think we are just losing Scott here for a moment, but Razin, incredible job out there today. And just one final question: how are you feeling heading to the Mad Ring?
Mad Ring is next week, correct? Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I don't know if I'm racing for sure. I probably am, but it's gonna be an interesting one. I'm not gonna lie. I think nobody's gonna be prepared for Mad Ring. You've got issues all over the place at the track as well. You know, potentially track limits issues. I think it's gonna be spicy though. I think it'll be a good watch. Let's see how much we enjoy, I guess.
Well, I think we'll jump things and leave things there. So brilliant job, Razin Shai, picking up that position and ending up third with all of the effort that is there into play. Scott, hopefully we've got you all back and good. Let's just check this out one last time. No. Right, Tom, we are going to get ourselves set in with the end of running. What an incredible day. I just want to get a little look at your highlights as you have set through on what has shown to be the true beginning of the new era here of Creator Series.
Last 25 laps, unreal racing. Yes, we had some controversial moments. Yes, we had the Lolly Ben incident, which I've seen Ben, he's taken responsibility for that. Fair enough, fair cop, has to be said. I think it sets up the championship battle really nicely as well. We had new names containing right at the sharp end. Nick Fly, shout out to him. Absolutely unreal drive from himself. A few laps away from getting on the podium. GB jumping back in, finishing strongly, as he always does. So consistent. Hasn't scored a podium at this venue, but I think he's only finished and qualified 4th and 5th his Creator Series career so far. So keeping up that streak. But yeah, fantastic stuff. And that was at Barcelona, which isn't necessarily the best track for racing. So I'll just leave that one there.
Absolutely. We're going to have some amazing action. If Scott had actual working internet, he'd be able to tell you what his socials were. So ultimately, he's not going to get the luxury of putting that together. But Tom, your socials, if you want people to find out where you are.
Firstly, Scott, do you have a whiteboard maybe? You can write it on, get a piece of paper, scribble it down for us. Yeah, pleasure as always to jump in on my side though. Wilker.coms on Instagram and TikTok. Jake.
Yes, you can find me, Mr_Sperry, when you head yourself over to Instagram. You can find myself as Jake_Sperry on things like X or Blue Sky. Out there, there is a number of places you can find some amazing action out there, from the cars that are on 4 wheels that are going straight and those that are going sideways as well, out there for running action. But an incredible day. If you haven't had the chance already, subscribe wherever you are with the Creator Series. And, of course, get yourself in with that discount code with Go Setups using our code CS10 for 10% off. And you might need it with the way that racing like this is setting itself up with battles here, there, and everywhere. It's a case of hold on. It's a knife fight in a phone booth for everyone to try and pick up victories out there in play. But better than anything else out there, there is only one undisputed King of Spain now. His name is Alex Gillen, and he walks to the championship lead on a massive scrap up then with Razin Chai, and he knows it's unfamiliar territory for everybody next time out, as we'll run over to the Mad Ring.